born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing police of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody is human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Kama mchezo. Ui, hata siski. Who is talking? Nothing. Hello? My lord.
Welcome to Monday.
What? Hey, everything is dead. Wow. All right.
Is it working now?
Nope.
Not yet.
Can't hear a thing.
Okay.
Watu wa mjengo wanakuanga huku asubuhi. Fundi. Unless it's not I cannot hear anything. May the Lord speak for us, because hapa tuko can't hear anything. I don't even know if I'm on air.
Okay.
Yeah, this is serious.
Serious?
Nini inafanyikanga huku on the weekend?
Over the weekend? Yeah. I don't know, man.
Do you know? Yeah. All right. We'll try. Something is definitely up. Mutangoja kidogo. I see how I can fix it, because as you can see, everybody, gentlemen and ladies, good morning. What I'm trying to do at this point is trying to make sure that I can even hear a thing. Because over the weekend, apparently things were done.
Something happened.
Yep. Something happened, that's for sure. And then Joyline is here trying to fix it. Well, somebody can hear me. I cannot hear myself. So let's just continue talking as the Lord leads us. Dennis Aseto, good morning.
Good morning, Okoh. How are you?
Mimi niko salama. Wewe uko poa?
Hata kama unisikii, it's okay. God shall make it work.
God shall definitely make it work.
But niko fiti nashukuru. It's been a beautiful weekend. Yeah.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. My weekend was good. Mama is feeling much better.
Fantastic.
You know, she might be discharged today, and to all that we say, thank you, God. Alhamdulillah.
Kabisa.
Yes.
Kabisa. It's good to see you, and I'm glad that you're here. Getting into things today. We're into the third week of January already. Just in case you're wondering, it's actually the third week of January.
And 19th to be specific.
It's the 19th of January, and things are still moving either way, one way or the other. A very good morning to everybody, and karibuni sana as we get into this morning. Very good to have you here. It's 60 minutes after 6 o'clock, and we're getting into conversations today. Let me let you know what we'll be talking about today, because it's still a conversation to be had. Things did happen over the weekend. Our headlines are going to show that. We're probably going to seep that into the conversations that we'll be having this morning. And even as we do, we'll have a couple of conversations, rather 3 of them today. And our first conversation will be had at 7 a.m. and we'll be talking with Kennedy Obuya, who is the UDA chairman, Homa Bay. We're looking at the development trajectory and really where is Kenya in terms of that. We'll then be joined at 8 a.m. by Honorable Mohammed Ado, who is the Member of Parliament for Wajir South, the state of the nation as concerns formerly marginalized regions. How are they faring? Let's look into that. Professor PLO Lumumba joins us then at 9 o'clock. We'll be looking at, again, at the state of the nation, the gains, the gaps, and the road ahead. That's what it looks like coming into Monday. So those are the conversations that we shall be having today. And thank you already for joining us. Our live streams are up on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X. Karibuni sana as we get into that this morning. And do you know what?
Yes.
Senegal are the AFCON champions.
Yay!
As you predicted.
Yay! Told you.
It was a great match to watch.
And Nigeria did that thing as well.
Yeah. The Eagles trounced the Pharaohs on Saturday night, and the great boys from Senegal did the thing. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
That brings AFCON to a close. And now we're looking forward to the World Cup, another triple country representation of
United States of America
and Mexico.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting to watch the World Cup coming up, where the nations converge.
But you've seen the conversations.
Activity on the planet.
You've seen the conversations around our World Cup, especially in the US, and visa entries, and the conversation around it, and people are actually cancelling their tickets right now because of the visa restrictions getting into the USA. And FIFA is actually concerned about decisions around the same, and we just see how that will go.
Okay. So, I mean, that will be a big one. That's a big one. Because with all the countries that got visa restrictions, and then you're hosting the World Cup in your country and neighboring countries, you're going to have to ask the question, excuse me, sir, what do you expect to happen if you're not going to give people visas to come? Where a lot of them are coming from the countries that you've then slapped this ban on. Let us see, because it will be an interesting time ahead.
It's just aside from it just being a football tournament, remember it is also a business opportunity for FIFA to make money as well through ticket sales and all that. So with all these restrictions, what does that mean for FIFA moving forward? Will they be running an enterprise during that period that will be making losses is the question.
For sure. All right, before we get into things and say good morning to everybody, good morning to our audience on KTN. Karibuni Sana, thank you for joining us this morning. This is the Situation Room. Dennis Aseto and Nduh with you today. And as we get into these conversations, thank you for being here. Our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. A few technical issues this morning that we're trying to get through, but it is Monday.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get through Monday, you're good.
Kabisa.
We'll see how we'll do that. But our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And as we get into say good morning to you, let's hear what our proverb is for today. And where did you take us this week?
We are in Africa's 7th largest country. You know, it comes from features a long Atlantic coastline with beaches and rich biodiversity, including the rare giant sable antelope. Majua nchi? Tuko Angola.
Angola.
Obrigado. Yeah, obrigado. The Portuguese, the colonialists were the Portuguese, so that makes it one of the country's main language. But let's go to the proverb today. The chicken that digs for food will not sleep hungry.
The chicken that digs the food will not sleep hungry.
Yeah. Digs for food, umeenda kutafuta, you'll not sleep hungry.
That's very true. If that faith is in your heart, get up, do some work.
Yeah.
You'll definitely get something. Get up and do something.
Yeah.
You'll get something. That's for sure.
Yeah.
This business for let me sit and the blessings of God will fall on my head. Get up. Do something.
Hard work.
And if you find that the place where you're doing something is not paying,
walk out. Kwenda. Toka hapo.
Yeah, so that's the story that we're telling this morning because it's a very real one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's pretty much a story of hard work and the rewards that you get after.
The rewards will come.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Both must go hand in hand. Hard work must be rewarded. In the event that hard work is not rewarded, then the person who's supposed to do the rewarding has a problem, no?
Very true.
Yes.
Okay. Let's look and say good morning to folks. We know that you're tuning in this morning. You'll have to forgive me because I feel like I'm not... have a small problem here and there, but it's all right. Let us find ourselves. Hopefully that will be fixed, and I hope that people are looking toward. Good morning, everybody. And as you tune into the show this morning, let's say a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us every morning as you do. Good morning. Tuned in from Today Mombasa is Dr. Venvic, and Peter Kiaria says good morning. When someone walks away from you, it's not the end of your story. It's the end of their character's role in your story.
Amen.
How about that? It's
Amen
not the end
to
of
that.
your story.
Yeah.
It's the end of their role in your story. Don Sabo says, good morning, good morning. Ask Aseto, with the Winnie and JR rally, junior rally in Kibra, what? Is this another uprising within ODM or simply a display of respect or disrespect for an internal power struggle? I think Don Sabo, through his questions, is trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
But okay, go ahead and answer either way.
Yeah, is it disrespect? No, because the party is there to do what exactly? To exist for the people. And what exactly did they say? That the party belongs to the people. Ask the people to make a decision on the way forward for the party.
This is true.
Yes.
One thing I must say about Winnie Odongo is that she's been consistent in her message.
Thank you.
Extremely
Thank you.
And she's not wavered off the line, you know, and she said, look, this thing that we fought for is not this thing that we are doing today.
Nope.
So it'll be interesting to see in the next coming days when that, she said, when that NDC comes, it'll be itakuwa norma. Those are the words that she used.
Norma sana. You know, another thing that she said is we only had one Baba. You cannot just wake up one day and say that we have another Baba. That will never happen. Everyone has to chart their own paths. Pretty much what you're saying.
Yep.
But it's in life.
Kabisa. Tupac, we see you. Happy MLK Wadao. Well, good morning to you. Robert Tibago says good morning, tuning from Mombasa. And good morning, Spice family. Wishing you all a wonderful week. We're dealing with the cold weather and snow in New Jersey, says JB Mutua. It is really cold in the eastern United States, northeastern United States. Extremely cold. We know, brother. Don't worry. The sun will shine at some point. And then you can make hay. Abi? Jennifer Atenya, we see you. Good morning, Nduh. Dennis, technical team, and to all Spice family, blessed day and happy week. Kwanza technical team, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Tunawapenda.
Sana. Boaz Naliani says good morning, tuning from Kitale. SpiceFM ni yetu bana. Twende wapi? Hakuna kabisa. Good morning to you and karibu sana. Kisa Daniel is tuned in this morning. Spice, finally we are back after the UCC shut down the internet for 5 days. Kisa, good morning. It's interesting because your Minister for Information said that they cut the sea cable in half.
The Indian Ocean.
At the Indian Ocean.
And the technical team was working very hard to repair.
It's interesting that they cut this cable a day before the election, and after the election results were announced, it
had been connected.
I mean,
gotta love it. You gotta. Now I understand why they wanted the ocean.
Yeah.
Now I know.
It's great.
Yes.
Miracle, not the tired Jesus.
Yeah, no. How?
What God cannot do does not exist. I'm telling you, it's great, and the time that He comes is was wonderful.
Yeah.
So thank you, Uganda. Hey. Hey.
Yeah. It's just a switch, eh?
Okay.
Yes.
So,
hello.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
What did I tell you?
Hallelujah.
Miracle, not the tired
Miracle.
Jesus. Not the tired Jesus.
Yes.
Okay, and here
not the tired Jesus completely.
Joyline, well done. God bless you and keep you in Jesus' name. So here we are, and I can actually hear now. This is great. The morning is moving along. So yes, Uganda, well done. Raimsula Omar says, good morning, tuning from Preston in the UK. Trump threatening Europe with tariffs unless he gets Greenland. See, the Third World War will not be with guns and bombs.
Nope.
The Third World War will not be people dying, blood in the streets. It won't. Yep. It'll be what we are seeing right now.
Yeah.
This geopolitical push and pull for power. It's already happening. Now you want to threaten Europe because you want an island. You decided, I like that one. What's the difference between you and the people that you called Nini countries?
So I was reading somewhere that Iran had threatened to hang people, right? And there's something that Denmark did. I don't know how true it is. I was just reading it online. And apparently the Danish intelligence agency gave info to Iran on where the Mossad agents were in Iran, and they were all arrested. And Iran threatened to hang them all in public if they dare shoot at them.
Do you know what the US is behaving like? You know that community person. Wait now. Why is your body hurting you? Wait. You know how you're in like the neighborhood and there are things happening, and that one who is just always at her window.
Yes.
Who knows everything and wants to go and shout and tell people to stop as if it concerns you. It doesn't concern you. But you want to be on top of all the information. You're in everybody's business. Whenever there's a fight, you're there.
Yeah.
The US is behaving like the nosy neighbor who can't keep her mouth shut.
Just behaving like the Karen of the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Move over, Karen.
Move over. Get out of here.
Jeez.
Get out of my lawn. Let's go.
So we see you. Kunde Emmanuel, good morning. Good morning. Yes. The real ODM was in Kibra yesterday. I don't know. I'm sorry. Are we allowed to say these things out loud?
But okay.
Emmanuel said that.
Yes.
The real
ODM, according to Emmanuel.
According to Emmanuel, the real ODM was in Kibra yesterday. Sawa.
Ile ni piki ponki.
Na tunasonga kusonga.
Okay, tusonge.
Bonjour à you. Good morning, Linda Gola. Good morning to you. Tips Muge says, good morning, team. Good morning to you, Karibu Sana. Greetings, Team Sane, the only sane player in the AFCON 2025 final, Kabisa. It was a great match to watch, for sure. Isakale says, good morning, Nduh and Aseto. The usual suspects, imagine, guilty as charged.
Guilty.
Methinks when leaders say we're all in this together, check the seating arrangement. For real, just check and make sure you're in the same room. You know how you go for those conferences and there's Mara room, Swara room.
Yes,
Cheetah, Chewy room. If they say we're in this together, just check the door sign.
Exactly. Yeah.
You and who?
You and who? Are we in this together?
As how?
Hey.
As how? Isakali, I agree with you. Raimtula Omar says Nduh is ready for Valentine's from now. Sindeo,
Kabisa.
Somebody just come and love me, I beg. See, I won't even try to pretend to be shy. Just come and love me. That's all I'm asking. This just please, small soft life like this. I'm eating.
Let's just say
I'm eating food. I swap. You come and rub my neck. The food goes down. Just soft.
I know you love green. In terms of flowers, what should people offer?
Roses.
Don't be surprised if flowers come.
I shouldn't be surprised.
Nope.
Let
Don't
me just
be surprised.
hold my peace.
Roses.
Love me, love me. That's what we're talking about.
My people, you've had her. Let the roses come every day until Valentine's.
Desmond sema huyu jamaa wa video bado amejificha. Nani huyo? Jimmy Monothi says good morning. Nduh and Dennis, the D in ODM stands for democracy. Sindio, Winnie, Sifuna, Babu are all presidential. Rest are noisemakers. Ooh, Jimmy Sawa Basti. B Awuor is tuned in from London. There's only one Awuor. Which other Awuor? Awuor, if does your first name start with B? No. Then we don't want. I'm joking. Okay, sorry. B Awuor tuning from London. Good morning to you. Nanu Kubai says good morning. A silent listener driving from Naivasha for work. You're keeping me company. Come. You live in Naivasha. You work in Nairobi. Thank you for tuning in this morning.
Yeah.
I hope you're not texting while you drive, but we're very happy that you're no longer silent. From today moving forward, you are not allowed to be silent. And we thank you that even as you tuned in every morning, that we can keep you company and that you can be involved in the discourse, even if it's at a listening level. So karibu sana Nanu.
I would love that life. Live in Naivasha, work in Nairobi.
Just leave 1.5 hours like this.
Yeah.
Then
you're here.
At 5 o'clock, tongue out.
Another the Rironi Road is coming. Yo. Hey.
We
Just
want
say,
your life, Nanu. That's what you are saying. So you invite us to your house. Jimmy, you said you can hear me. It's great. I think I just needed to hear. Hey, Ken Korean says, hi, Nduh. Now, let me help you. Nduh, in my language, is sorry.
Okay.
That's not my name. It means sorry. Nduh is my name.
Which means?
Life.
Life.
My name doesn't have an H at the end because no, I take God Beguna. Let me just spell it now once and for all. Let's agree. N-D-U.
And you have to stress on N.
N. The emphasis is on the N. If not, it doesn't mean what it's supposed to mean.
Yes.
1, 2. It's a short form. The full form is Nduh. The short form is Nduh. There is no apostrophe. It's not Nduh. It's not Nduh. It's not Nda.
Does
it's
not have
Nduko.
H.
There's no H. There's no U. There's no O. There's no I. There's no G. I've seen people put G. There's no G.
How do you have an I Nduh?
My dear.
Okay.
I have failed. No, all those letters I've called. Then none of them is inside. Nduh. Please.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. They said, do we have torches in Nigeria? Ken Korea, I see you. Hey, Christina, good morning. Good morning to you. Very good morning to you, squad. Good morning, Kimi Yak. How are you? Sam Atandi is telling us men are jealous of its physique in place of development record. It's diabolical. Actually, it's insane. It's actually crazy. It's actually crazy that we can look at. Do you know where we have reached? That somebody can talk to you about development agenda and then you tell the person, you know what, Dennis? The reason why you're insisting that I go and develop in certain parts of Homa Bay, Migori, wherever, is because you're jealous of my body. That is where we have reached. Even as I'm saying it, I'm embarrassed that you can tell somebody that the reason why you're attacking me when you see me in the gym talking about development agendas because you're jealous of my body. Which kind of demon has attacked us?
I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion to the owner of that phrase. If you really think that people are jealous of your physique, walk on the streets naked. I dare you.
Come on.
I dare you. I dare you. And see what people will do to you if not take you to Madare because you're crazy.
You're mad. People are worried about things in this country. People are worried about their children going to school, eating a full meal a day. People are worried about their beloved ones in hospital. Then you open your mouth and allow words to fall out that are similar to somebody. May God forgive us, I'm telling you. Because no.
You'd even wonder if you'd look good as a statue. I'm sorry.
I've even annoyed Aseto. It's very hard for Aseto to get angry.
How would you?
See Aseto angry.
We live in constituencies where grade 10s have not gone to school, where people do not have school fees, there is no healthcare. Then you open your mouth and say, we're jealous of your physique. I dare you today. Walk on the streets of Nairobi as a naked man and see what will happen. Take you to Madare.
Kuna fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher.
And the people of that constituency where that man comes from, grounds to impeach that guy. Poleni, if that is your MP, I'm sorry. You just have to call it for what it is. Utter nonsense.
Washington Okechi is tuned in this morning. And he says, good morning, Spice family. Shh.
Okay.
Sorry. I love your show. Thank you. Nduh, why are my brothers from Nigeria calling me an Igbo man? It's because of my last name. Yes, it's because of your last name. It is.
Okechi.
I think in Kenya you would say Okechi. In Nigeria we say Okechi, which is God's time.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they call you that. Mashari and Jero says, good morning, Team Spice. Watching from Portland in Oregon. It's heartbreaking to see young boys and girls who've been admitted to a school charging 40,000 shillings as tuition, and maybe the parents only have 4,000. Did you see that picture? This is now somebody will come and tell you about their body.
Their body.
Somebody's coming to shout about their body. Meanwhile,
Yes.
there's a grandmother who is standing on the side of the road with a chicken and a stick of sugar cane.
Yes.
Begging the teacher, please, just take this, I'm coming. Same country.
Same country. Same country.
Chicken and sugar cane. Please take my child to school.
Bwana watu wache kutubeba ujinga bwana. Kenya ilisha ujinga bwana.
Hey.
Hey.
Jamani. That's where we are. Thomas Omosa says, good morning. ODM is at its boiling point while outside the Situation Room is very cold in Nairobi. It's cold. It's not cold though. What are you talking about? Nyakundi, we see you. Manchester United and Senegal made my weekend. They did. Manchester beat the other Manchester. Senegal beat the people at home.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
St. Gerald says, good morning, Nduh and Aseto. Oh my, 6:17 and stuck in traffic at Kimbo. Where is Kimbo?
Kimbo, I don't know.
Don't know. I'm very sorry. Where are you going that you're stuck this morning? Let us know if you're out of it now. And but let's all purpose to have a beautiful Monday and an equally beautiful week ahead.
And I think if he manages to tell us exactly why there is traffic at Kimbo, let us know so that he can tell others.
Exactly.
Yes.
For sure. Godfrey says, good morning. The opening of the YouTube channel until I thought you guys are celebrating Martin Luther King Day. Warm. Sorry, that's how we were trying to come and things did not agree. But we are now here.
Yes.
Don't be angry. Not vex, I beg. Abi? All right.
Abi.
Okay. Eliza Fan Jerry says, good morning. Tuning from Nyamakima. Good morning to you. Kilifi Ganze sub-county is where Abera Bethwell is tuning from this morning. Chukunzira says, good morning, Nduh and Jadwong Aseto. Karibuni sana. Thank you so much. Good morning, guys. Senegal made us proud as Africans. Eric Awuor. Good morning. The problem with the proverb is that chicken will be eaten by a luya just waiting for it. Isa, just come
We are
slow.
sorry.
Don't meet Joyline on the road.
I know.
Where? St. John Moredi says, good morning, everybody. Tuned in from Thika, Karibuni Nyote, Asante Sana Kabisa. Yamo Jr. says, good morning and have a great week ahead. Rogers Lai is also tuned in. And what does Abi mean? Abi means Sindio.
Sindio.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Right? Good morning. And Musema Ukeli, good morning. Nduh and Aseto, very happy God revealed himself yesterday in Senegal win over Morocco though controversial. Oh, God does exist for real. Sindio. Elizvan, you're asking, what's wrong with Trump? What's his character? Rubbing shoulders with everybody. Can you imagine? Anything that moves, you're there. Come on. Good morning, Team Spice. Happy week ahead, says Hussein Kelvin. Dennis, able help. How do I tell President when he congratulates Museveni, not to mention on behalf of Kenyans? Because don't know now.
I'm scared.
We've passed the message. Atieno is in Kilifi. Good morning, Atieno. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Morris and that is also tuned in this morning. Kaunya Bura anatupenda sana. Tunakupenda pia, my sister. Agola, can you imagine how my name has been butchered over the years? Nduh, Nga. Hey, yeah. Driving from Naivasha, to Naivasha. No longer a silent listener. Kabisa. Anthony, we see you. Good morning. And Jose Mahinda says, good morning. Kimbo's near Kenyatta Road. Oh, okay, in this corner. All right. Mavenga says, good morning. Tuned in from Pangani. Good morning to you. Hamjambo Marefiki. Niko hapa pia. Kimbo is in Ruiru around Nibs. Okay, my prince, good morning to you. Right. Everybody knows where Kimbo is. And now we all do. Sindio, enjoying the Nigerian accent. My dear, Dan still, good morning. Hope everybody is well. You must revert to the things of home when you're confused.
It's important too.
It's very important, my dear.
Hey, it's very important.
Hey, whoa. Okay. So at this point, everybody has been welcomed, Abi. Thank you very much. You are fine. Very good. Now that we have established the fineness of everybody, whether it is in feeling or in appearance, we keep it moving.
No, that feeling is to up.
Okay. The one for feeling, no, you don't want.
Your feelings peleka kwenu.
Okay. We have removed.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. People should come and help me, I beg. Today I don't understand. Aseto is just angry.
No, honestly. You can't say some things, man. You just can't say some things. As a legislator who's in charge of coming up with laws and policies that would change the trajectory of a country, and all you have to say is, you're jealous of me because of my physique. My friend, we'll get rid of that gym. I'm sorry, we'll get rid of that gym.
Yeah.
And lock you up in that National Assembly and make right policies for this country. If the kitchen is too hot, you do what?
Get out.
Get out.
It's true.
Yeah.
On the front page of Kenya's bold newspaper, let's look into the paper, shall we? The Standard. Christine, I can see you, and I know what you have just thought in your mind as I've said that. The Standard. ODM rift explodes. Winnie Odinga has stormed back into ODM politics with a show of force that has rattled the party's new power center, commanding a mammoth Kamkunji crowd. Reminiscent of her late father's rallies, the Yalab MP warned party bosses against unilateral decisions and demanded a national delegates conference before any 2027 realignments. Did they not go to Kibra? It wasn't a Kibra. Anyway. Her intervention sharply contrasts with small rival meetings led by party leader Oginga, and exposes widening cracks as ODM weighs coalition talks with President Ruto's UDA. From Kibra to Kakamega, the party Raila built is now openly divided between unity calls, rebellion threats, and the high-stakes fight for it. So, when we were talking here, I said there's a problem in this ODM. When Odinga said this thing yesterday, this guy clearly was holding this thing together. We need to have a discussion about where it is going.
Yes.
People say, no, ODM is not breaking. We're united as ever. I said, come, excuse me. If it is about 2 feet tall, it has a beak with nostrils.
With webbed feet.
It has webbed feet. They're sometimes orange or grey in color. It swims and has soft downy feathers. It has small ones following it called ducklings. If it does all of those things and it waddles like so, it's not a giraffe.
Nope. And it cannot be.
It's not a So the other story on page 2 is saying that ODM is in tatters, is in tatters as party boss is forced to attend 2 meetings. Boy. The party cannot be led by sellouts, says Winnie. Ruto accused of dragging feet in executing the 10-point agenda. I'm sorry, I don't think he's dragging his feet. You know what? Because when you're dragging your feet...
At least you're moving.
May God bless you. Because... when you're dragging your feet, you're moving to... Somebody can see you're coming slowly. Like my mother will say, my friend, will you stand up from there? Hurry up. No.
I know what is happening.
He's not moving at all.
He's mark timing.
Like that.
Yeah.
You're
just stepping on the same spot. The only thing that you're doing is you're going deeper because it's the same spot and you're stepping on it. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't hold your breath. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It's Museveni's 7th heaven. 7th term. Well,
7th heaven.
This is Robert Kitui's story. Robert Kitui, we're looking for you because this is a fantastic headline. It's Museveni's 7th heaven, it's his 7th term, and it's democracy's hell. That's the story. Wombs for hire. See it? This story I want to tell you, but we'll look through the headlines first. Wombs for hire inside the dark business of surrogacy and why Kenya is attractive, in case you thought that everything was the government's fault. No, it's not.
Nope.
House scramble for national schools is exposing deep educational gaps. They're big ones, they're deep ones. Again, we look into that story. This one today done by Mike Kihake. But you will now get to understand when you have cluster 4 schools, which should form the largest percentage for intake for students. Some of them are registering single-digit admissions of grade 10. For real.
Yeah.
KNEC, as I like to call them, not NEC, faces backlash over sign language grading in 2025 KCSE. Apparently, they didn't meet the thresholds as they were supposed to.
Yeah.
There's too many things going on. Alliance-bound student trapped in dump site. The LSK, that's a big story. I'm not rushing over it, but I was just sad when I read that story and then being able to see what exactly happened here, some details of that. By midday, the quarry dump site in Mukuru slums is already heavy with the heat. Smoke curls up from smouldering waste, and the sun glints off broken glass, and the air is thick with the smell of rot and burning plastic. Men and boys move quickly across the garbage heaps, racing to collect whatever can be sold before the day slips away. Among them is John Mwangi, a schoolboy by achievement, a laborer by circumstance. My name is John Mwangi. I'm from Mukuru. I'm a grade 10 student who's unable to join senior school due to lack of finances, he said, wiping sweat from his forehead. He scored 64% in his KJSEA exams at Zao School, a strong performance that earned him admission to Alliance Boys High School, one of Kenya's most competitive national schools. At first I thought it was a lie, he said, but when my father showed me the confirmation message, I knew it was true. The moment of joy quickly gave way to uncertainty. Picture those two just for a minute while you tell me that you went to the gym. Just hold on.
Thank you.
LSK wants state sale of Safaricom shares delayed. Just hold on to that thing, you guys, in terms of what you are doing. All right, that's some of the stories in the headlines today. Of course, we're looking at the sporting pages. AFCON coming to an end with Senegal lifting that cup, Morocco in second, and Nigeria in third place. All right, to you, sir, before I come back to the surrogacy.
Yes, and we are here. Daily Nation. It's Odinga versus Oginga. Baba died just the other day, but they are in a hurry to get some things done. Not everyone believed in Baba. Some were only using him. That is Winnie Odinga, the other MP. And those who wish to leave should do so on their own. Our focus is on strengthening the party. That is Oburu Oginga, the ODM party leader. Now, why Mbadi KRA boss are in trouble? Now, late last year, ships with 55,000 tons of duty-free rice from India and Thailand docked at the port of Mombasa. The shipments worth 6 billion shillings would not have attracted controversy were it not for a court order blocking the grain imports. Now, a petition claim the government defied the order by publishing a new rice imports notice to circumvent another frozen by the courts. Court order continues to be what in this country? A suggestion. Now, Kenyans still being lured to Russia war. Sad that continues today, despite the hue and cry that the government moves in to ensure that is stopped. Now, from Kanu's fall to Gen Z rise, factors shaping LSK elections. Yes, and one of the key issues will be when the president, LSK, was appointed into that, what is it called? Into that committee, something. Yes. And Ruto Lord's Dawoodi Bora community contribution. Now, state urged to divest bigger stake of Safaricom holding. That as well is there. And Mbadi carry box in a fix over 6 billion shillings, right? We've already gone through that. And in pages 4 and 5, it is that story where Winnie accuses ODM leaders of pushing personal interest. And Gachagua, who's cost voters, dismisses report of being deserted by allies. That is all in politics. And Ruto eyes Raila allies to craft policies for first world plans. So some of the allies include Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, Professor Karuti Kanyinga, Professor Michael Shege, and Professor Odur Wanyande. Now, from Kanu's fall to Gen Z's rise, that is on matters to do with LSK elections, and the Russia-Ukraine war as well is there on pages 8, and rights activist in court over alleged extortion. So it's a rights advocate is in court facing allegations of attempting to extort money from the Kenya Wildlife Services through judicial proceedings while threatening adverse publicity. Yes, those are the stories on the Daily Nation. What do you have on the Star?
All right. ISPAC boss, corruption thrives where checks and balances are weak. That's an interview that she's given in the big interview in the Star this morning, and it would sound like a no-brainer, but it's interesting. Look, if you have a place where the checks and balances are tight, there's some that she speaks to this morning. Courting Gen Z for 27 inside Ruto Kindiki plan to woo young people. We can already see that the wooing is happening. 6,000 shillings for 90,000 people. The Nyota program is 50,000 shillings for 100,000 people, and it's going to continue in that fashion. It would be fantastic if you really meant it, and that there would be sustainability and longevity of such things. But if you're doing it essentially to woo me for a minute until you slam the home run and then you're done with me after that, then I'm worried about it. But hey, let's look into the conversation that we had here with Musao and Professor Ombongi was very interesting, because now you understand how power moves from administration to administration.
Yeah.
You can be here thinking that it's about you, the people, but my friend, it is not. What is kiburi?
Kiburi. How do I put it? I don't know. I understand it, but hard-headed.
Okay, hard-headed.
Kichwangumu, yes.
Let me be kiburi, rather than allow things to pass that are wrong.
True.
Okay.
Kuna mtu alikuita kiburi?
Si mimi peke yangu, hata wewe. Moving along swiftly, Kenyans turn to digital loans and Shylocks to survive tough economy. Isn't that the truth? That you're going to have to borrow in the short term in order to keep your needs above water. Report blames shrinking revenues, unemployment, and high cost of living that people are having to borrow in order to survive. It's not funny. The pictorial says everything. Oburu versus Winnie, battle for ODM soul intensifies. Broad-based chaos. Yala MP Winnie Odinga at Kamkunji grounds for the 2026 sessional assembly of the Kamkunji pressure group yesterday. And on the right there in Kakamega is Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa welcoming ODM leader Oburu Oginga to the party's delegate meeting in the county yesterday. If anything is being called for today, it is an NDC. Call an NDC. Let the people tell you what they actually want. This business of certain leaders in certain factions saying this is what Baba said, this is what Baba did not say, he said it on top of the roof, he said it under the bed. Call people, let them agree what it is that they want to do, and then move forward. It is Kenya's largest party by population and by representation in government.
The party is formed by the people make the decision, so I
don't understand. So Winnie said, look, we can be here shouting and saying we are the ones she said no. Neither did she say I am the she said call the people to hear what they say, and she knows that it's going to be explosive. That's what she said yesterday. Those are some of the stories that we're looking into. Let's take a quick look at the Business Daily before we come and look in some stories in detail. NSC bond trades hit record 2.7 trillion shillings on investor surge. So it looks like somebody's putting their money into Kenya, into Kenyan companies. State seeks to firm grip on Kenya reboard CAP CEO tenure. Okay, that will be fun. Farming is where thoroughly uneducated city slickers and their wallets go to die an ignominious death. This is what Carol Musyoka said. Why did she say that? I wonder. Many people are into farming.
Yep.
Kenya Power staff forge pay slips to get loans. Hey. Okay. It's no longer a secret, I guess. Co-op Bank boss Murioki pays extra 148 million shilling shares. Okay. Kenya tops Africa in startup funding. Kenya startups attracted the largest debt and equity financing in Africa for the second year in 2025 at $984 million, according to a research firm that tracks such transactions on the continent. So big things are happening.
Yeah.
Big things are going.
Big things are going. Not going. Me dare say.
All right. Let me tell you this story about surrogacy. Now, if you don't know what surrogacy is, essentially it is is it a position now, an agreement where a woman will carry a pregnancy for another woman. In the case that she is unable to, after having tried several times, she is unable to do that. And so one of two things will happen. That specimen will be then placed inside the surrogate, right? Or, she will agree to get pregnant and carry the baby for her. Either way. Now, apparently it has been turned into wombs for hire. It's a story that's carried in the Standard today. It's been done by Francis Ontomwa. With the cost of living biting deeper and jobs slipping further out of reach, a growing number of women are becoming desperate and are now turning to an arrangement once considered rare and alien just to make a living. You know how before people used to give kidney, cut liver, things, sperm donation for money? Now it's becoming a lot more serious. For just a little dime paid as a monthly salary, the women have dared it all, renting their wombs for 9 months, carrying babies for others, mostly foreigners, just to make ends meet. Arrangements that are sadly ending in regret and betrayal. Surrogacy, originally thought to help couples unable to conceive, is fast mutating into a shadowy economy where women's bodies are traded, where contracts sealed in sheer secrecy, aided by rogue agents and lawyers. This is happening as authorities look the other way while lives are being destroyed. Kenya is now cited in some reports as one of the most dangerous destinations for commercial surrogacy. The citation is not because the practice itself is illegal, but because it exists in a legal vacuum exploited by rogue players. There are no clear laws to regulate it or safeguard to protect surrogate mothers. And so as agents, clinics and brokers curiously smile all the way to the bank while thousands of traumatized women are left nursing permanent scars. Millie Odhiambo is the Member of Parliament for Suba North and has actually been advocating for laws around surrogacy to be made and done right, regulated in this country. Even more troubling are reports by anti-human trafficking networks, which now say their investigations can trace how some children born through these arrangements vanish into murky international networks allegedly trafficked or sold for organs abroad. When Irene, not her real name, received a call from a close friend mid-last year, she was enthusiastic, but that would change her life forever. Irene has asked the standard to protect her real identity for safety concerns. She's only 26 years old, a mother of 3 who worked in a casual retail jobs to support her young family, and until recently, the young single mother who hails from the informal settlements in Kayole lost her job, making her world come crashing down. I had no job to hang on to, and every time I looked at my children, I got depressed, she said. At this stage, I was open to anything, any job that would put food on the table and support my little ones. And it was while debating on what I should pursue that this friend called me. Irene says she was told about surrogacy, the ins and outs, how it worked, the do's and don'ts, the hospital visits, and the money. Everything was explained, she says, in simple, convincing terms. And for starters, it was all good. It was all she wanted at this point. She was introduced to a local agent called Elisi Fertility and Surrogacy Agency, where advertises on popular social media as being based in Nairobi, but with no precise location or operation address. She was connected to this agent, Cynthia Awuor Opio, who sounded warm and was kind at the beginning. It didn't take long before Irene got a call thereafter. An American client from New Jersey was found, with this fertility broking a deal for Irene. They promised to pay her a monthly allowance of 35,000 shillings for 9 months, in addition to paying her medical bills until delivery. In the arrangement, she was told she would deliver the baby and immediately hand it over. The friend had done surrogacy herself, advised that she didn't become emotionally attached to the baby, just treat everything like a business. This is what she was supposed to do. Industry players say surrogate mothers in Kenya typically receive between 200,000 to 1 million shillings in pregnancy. In sharp contrast, surrogates abroad earn the equivalent of 10 million shillings or more. She was to walk away with slightly over 300,000 shillings at the end of 9 months. This is where I'm going to stop on this story, because you can go and see that it did not end up as pretty as it sounds as I'm reading it. I would encourage you to get a copy of the Standard newspaper, get a copy of the e-paper if you can, and read this story, because not only will it tell you Irene's story, but it will open up your world to the realities that are happening on a daily basis, that people are now getting into this thing where unfortunately it does not end in a good moment. They're giving up their bodies, their children are taken, they get into these agreements. Most times they don't even know what they're into. But this is the case. This is where we are.
And you say, when are you hear MP Millie Odhiambo pushing for laws to control these space? I mean, it is here with us. It is happening. So what we have to do is the government has to be in here and control the same and ensure that those who are getting into it know, first of all, what the law says, know what is in it for them, and that they are protected by the state. Because as we see right now, things are just opening in the open and no one is following up for it. So I think it's about time. It is about time. So let's go to education. Even as we talk about our physique, let's just talk about education.
Okay.
House scramble for national schools is exposing deep educational gaps. Now, as placements of learners into senior secondary schools begin media, fresh data from the 2025 KCSE results is exposing uncomfortable truths about the cost, equity and outcomes of Kenya's most prestigious national schools, while national and extra-county schools continue to dominate public imagination as centers of excellence. Performance figures reveal that thousands of learners in these high-cost institutions failed to meet university entry requirements, raising questions about value for money and fairness in admission. According to the 2025 KCSE results, at least 6,604 students from national schools will not transition to university after failing to attain the minimum C+ required for degree programs. An even larger number, 88,764 learners from extra-county schools, also fell short. National schools produced 2,955 candidates with grades ranging from C plain to E, including 1,654 C-, 851 D+, 476 D plain, 495 D- and 173 E's. Now, extra-county schools recorded that 37,276 C planes, 29,309 C-, 9,557 D+, 9,982 D, and 2,505 D- and 115 E's. This is a tough reality to justify. How do you reconcile the cost of producing an E in a national school compared to a sub-county school, asks education policy expert Majani Baridi. He notes that national schools with strong alumni networks and government support are expected to produce the cream of the society. Ironically, sub-county and county schools, often seen as second tier, will send 109,299 students to university. Sub-county schools alone produced 72,699 learners with C+ and above, while county schools recorded 36,600. Nimewachia hapo. The majority of the schools that many overlook, that many look as if they are not center of excellence, according to this report, produce the majority of students who end up in universities.
Absolutely. I mean, just the national school I was at over the weekend, out of the 600 students that sat the KCSE from that school, 598 of them made the mark to go to university. So can you see a relation between the best, quote-unquote, going to this school and what happens for university? Takes us to the top of the hour. A minute past it, actually. We're going to come and we're looking into development circles. The chairman of UDA Homa Bay is going to be here with us. Kennedy Obuya will be in the hot seat at 7:01. Good morning.
It is now 7 a.m. with ICEA Lion. Protect your today, securing your tomorrow.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the news. The simmering ODM crisis has taken a sudden turn after East African Legislative Assembly MP Winnie Odinga and her brother Raila Odinga Jr. spoke out publicly about it, warning against what they say are attempts to silence dissenting voices within the party. Speaking in Kibra, Nairobi, the pair accused some ODM leaders of targeting young leaders in the party, referring to Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, saying such moves threaten the party's values and democratic legacy. In her first major political appearance in Kibra since the death of her father, ODM leader Raila Odinga's daughter Winnie vowed to remain strong within the party.
Vitisho vya peni mbili vitanifanya mimi nini? Amnitishi, amnibadaishi. Nasikia kuna watu wengine walisema hatuwezi kuja hapa. Ni akina nani? Hakuna siku baba aliwahi anybody atoke kwenye hii chama. Wanaongea sana na tukiuliza maswali wanasema tutoke kwenye chama. Tukitoka watabaki na nani kwenye hii chama?
When a statement was supported by Odongo Jr., who stressed that freedom of expression must be maintained.
Tusikubali kuwa watu wakuguza wengine. Kabla tuongee vitu zingine, tunafuatilia hiyo vision ya baba. Hatufuatilia hiyo vision. Hiyo ndoto ni yetu. Everybody here. Ni ndoto ya watoto wa baba.
When he has now announced that she'll present the issue at the party's National Delegates Conference, where she plans to challenge what she says is increasing misinformation about the direction of Odongo.
Hauwezi copy-paste baba. Huwezi copy-paste the greatest leader Kenya has ever seen. Ati unabadilisha na huyu, ati sasa tuko na baba. No, haiwezi kuwa hivyo. So sisi kama watu wa ODM, lazima tuongee na watu wetu. Lazima tuongee na mavijana. Tuongee na wamama. Pia wazee tutaongea nao. Na wale wanasema ati sijui baba aliwaambia sijui nini. Hiyo ni kukosa adabu. Nyamazeni bwana. Hiyo ni kukosa adabu. Tulieni bana. Everything baba alikuwa anasema mbele ya watu wake.
Senior Kenya Kwanzaa leaders on Sunday launched a sharp attack against former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, accusing him of promoting division and personal politics instead of supporting the government's development agenda. Speaking during a church service at Kanuni New Life Church in Igembe South Constituency, Mary County, the leaders, led by Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku, defended President William Ruto's administration and dismissed claims that the government had sidelined Mount Kenya region.
Kuna watu wanakuja kuwadanganya huku ati museme one term. Na watu, they have organized a threat against government, against anybody who is supporting president juu ya tumbo yao wao wenyewe. Rigathi Gachagua is a master of organizing hatred against people, against members of parliament.
That's the news wire. I'm Lea Ubaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru. Traffic.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Odongo that he's doing police of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
A very, very good morning to you. It's 9 minutes after 7 o'clock, and it's Monday, January 19th. And as we are getting into the doings of the week and coming over from the hangovers of the weekend in terms of things that have been said and things that have been done, the Situation Room. And we're looking into the situations in different areas, and we're going to have conversations around some of those things. Dennis Aseto, Nduh here with you. People, I'm telling you, you look for a fire extinguisher, because today, Dennis Aseto said, No. There are certain things that we cannot allow, and we continue looking at them and behaving as if they are normal. It's not normal.
It's not.
We've normalized nonsense for the longest time, and it cannot continue in that manner.
No.
But let me tell you about something about a plan for the future, even though it looks like it could be a little bit difficult. When folks are talking about the things that they've done, because there are some people who are killing it, there are some people who are getting things done. You're putting a little bit of something aside for the future. You're making sure that the job that you're doing, you can retire at 50. You're not going to have too much of an issue. And then you start to sit in those conversations and you ask yourself, okay, excuse me, where do I feature here? I'm not actually making a plan. I don't know when I'm going to get married. I don't know when I'm going to have my 2.5 children. I don't know when I'm going to have my 5-bedroom house with 2.5 bath. I don't know when I'm going to do that. Well, you know what? You can sit and you can worry, or you can say, today is the day that I'm going to ask ICEA Lion about my plan. It could be today that you're going to pick up the phone or get onto that website and say, I'm going to ask the question and say, you guys, how are you going to help me put a plan together? And that's what these good people are here to do. To say, you know what? You don't have to worry about what happened before. What you need to do is take a step today, and then take that step and make a plan. And you don't have to do it yourself, because it can be inundating, can't it? When there's so many things coming in you, what do? Do I save? Do I help this family member? Do I go back to school? Do I activate? So many questions will pop up, right? But this is the thing about a plan, that you take all the little details and you form this one thing that you can follow. And who better place to help you do that than ICEA? ICEA will help you. ICEA Lion Group will definitely help you. All you need to do is ask that question. And on the other side of ICEALion.co.ke, the good people there will help you through that. So don't worry, or at least stop worrying today and get to work. And let's do that and get our plans in place. What's your plan? That's the question. And let's fill in the thing. Sindo? Kabisa.
Ni vizuri kujipanga.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're having a conversation this morning, and we're looking at the development trajectory in the country. Awuor, are we good to go? Are we still waiting for a green light? Something? Not yet. Okay, so we'll have a conversation should he get here at some point. But either that notwithstanding, we wanted to look through some of the other stories that were making headlines today. You came off of the
performance pretty much between what has been called the center of excellence in the country vis-a-vis those schools that are overlooked by virtue of how they have been categorized, and then asks the question, if majority of those who get into campus are students that come from these schools that have been overlooked over time, where should our priorities be as a country, as a government, perhaps invest more into these schools that produce the minds and brains that get into these universities. But we don't see that happen. Every other time we see where investments do go. And then again, we also talk about policies that are being pushed by those in power, those in these offices, talk about members of parliament. What are they doing to improve the situation? We look at what Ndindi Nyoro is doing and his improvement and investment into day schools in his constituency. Should everyone emulate that? Then again, you look at others who are saying, munanionea wivu because of my physique, which then brings about a national conversation on where our priorities are in matters to do with education, perhaps.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. And if you look at it, because what you expect, what you put in is what you're going to get out. If you're putting a lot of your attention into these supposed centers of excellence, and then you're not taking your time to develop these other schools that exist in the country where you're sending the majority of your students, what do you think is going to happen? That is why you will have 1 million KCSE finishers and you will only have 200,000 students who make it to university.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer for me. True. What do you expect? Because where you put your effort, what you feed grows. What you feed grows, and that's what is actually going to give you. So it's up to you to decide how you're going to make it happen. All right. Let's look at some other stories. The big one, of course, coming off of the wins of the weekend is this the second ODM rally that took place in the week, and that's what it's being called. Whether you want that long name that was given for it, the 2026 Sessional Assembly of the Kamkunji Pressure Group yesterday. It was an ODM rally.
Yes.
Okay. And people came out to hear. And this story that's in The Nation this morning on page 4 is Winnie accuses ODM leaders of pushing personal interest. She came out and she said a couple of things. Said, okay, yeah. We are 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But it's puzzling that you would see that people are talking about this is what we must do. Baba told me, no, it's okay. It's okay if Baba told you things, but there were things that he said publicly, and that is what we are going to go with, number one. Number two, it is a movement for people, and she called the dates. 2007, wakati nchi iliwaka. Those are the words that she used. 2013, wakati vitu zilikuwa noma. 2017, wakati ilikuwa mbaya sana, tukaenda maandamano. Alafu tukaenda maandamano tena, Finance Bill 2024, Gen Z contestation. Na baba alikuja kuleta nchi, kuleta watu pamoja. Yes. And she said, well, have we forgotten all of that? For people to come and start saying that it is their interest that must be followed. That I am the one. Imagery could have said that perhaps she was speaking directly to her uncle.
Yep.
Or she was speaking to the other people who have said that they are the leaders, they are the ones. No. She insisted in Mombasa during the 20th celebration of ODM, call an NDC. Let the people decide what they want. If we have said that we are a movement based on the tenets that Raila Odinga wanted, call a national delegates convention. Let them be the ones to tell you what they want. The feathers that will have ruffled between yesterday 4 p.m. and this morning are many. Because then you want to ask the question, was she wrong in what she said? Was she off the mark? Or did it resonate in the hearts of people like, hold on, wait a minute, where are we actually going? Is it a big deal? Yes, it is.
It is.
Because it forms part of how a government in the future is going to look like Kenya. It does. It does. And some people are saying, it's just one party. Why are you making so much noise? Why are you giving it so much attention? Because the likelihood of these talks forming the individual who will be part of government in the future is very high. These are the things that we pay attention to. And this is the headline here. Pushing personal interest vis-a-vis a party that was built on the tenets of democracy.
I mean, whichever you want to look at it, whether she was speaking directly to his uncle, whether she was being disrespectful, the question then is, has she passed a certain message? And are people resonating with that message? Question is, what will the party leadership do with that information in order to bring ODM together and be united? Because whatever both ends are saying, they're speaking. But how will they then come together and speak in one voice? NDC perhaps? the only way to see.
That is the way, because then you hear you hear how the people are actually speaking.
Yes.
All right. Our guest is here this morning. He's the UDA chairman, Homa Bay, and we're looking into the state of the nation, Kenya's development trajectory, and it will be interesting to hear what the thought is in terms of how the country continues to develop from this standpoint. Kennedy Obuya joins us this morning. Good morning, Bwana Chairman.
Good morning, my sister, and Happy New Year.
Oh, it is true. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Good morning, my brother. Good
morning. Happy New Year to you. Karibu sana.
How are you doing?
I'm well, I thank God. Sorry, apologies to our viewers. I got a little stuck on the traffic jam. And I'm grateful I joined. This is our first show this year.
This year, yes.
Yes.
Well, it's good to have you. We were going to ask you if you've come from Homa Bay this morning, but not necessarily so.
Not really.
Okay.
I slept in Nairobi.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for the time that we have, it will be interesting to go through the things that are necessary for us to discuss this morning. The word development has been in our mouths for the very longest time. So we're going to get into some of those things this morning. But first, Dennis takes us to Angola.
Yes. Angola, a country that is very, very rich with many natural resources. And among those, we talk about diamonds, they have gold, and that continues to push the economy of the country. But let's go to the proverb. The chicken that digs for food will not sleep hungry. The chicken that digs for food will not sleep hungry. What are Angolans telling us today?
Oh, this is interesting. The chicken that digs for food
will not sleep hungry.
Will not sleep hungry. Literally, this translates to and encourages hard work, determination. If you program yourself to working hard, definitely you'll be earning. Yeah.
Kila mtu ajitume.
Ni kujituma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, in an honest manner, isn't it?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. All right. Development is the word that has been in the mouths of people. It seems like this is a new buzzword for political parties and campaigns, that let's go the development way to then be able to get us where we're going. In terms of what true development actually means, that could be a totally different question. But let's start off in this way, Kennedy, when we're looking into the development agenda for the country and what then it would actually look like. When we do that from that point of view, on what trajectory are we on in terms of development?
I normally say that Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a radical positioning. It takes the goodwill of both the government of the day and the citizens collectively. To steer communities, administrations, governments to greater heights. I am happy with the commitment, the radical commitment that the Kenya Kwanza administration has, led by President William Samoei Ruto, towards taking Kenya to the Singapore dream. And this, I only pray that the Kenyan community, the political elite, would come strongly and set aside political differences and see if, as a nation, as a Kenyan community, can we move Kenya forward?
Yeah.
So basically, goodwill.
Okay.
Goodwill.
Do you know that proverb is actually only half of the proverb?
Yes.
When you say Rome was not built in a day, it's actually half of the proverb. The rest of the proverb goes like this: but they were laying bricks every hour. Rome was not built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour.
That's true.
So something was being done. Even this great Rome that you see today, which, by the way, if you visit it today, it's still a magnificent city. What bricks are being laid that we can see in the country today, beyond the talk? Because I think we can both agree that the talk is quite something. And it doesn't matter who is it, but the talk is over there.
Yeah.
What are the things that we can actually see and say the trajectory that Kenya is on development-wise is actually progressing? What are some of those bricks?
There's so much that is ongoing. Literally, the Kenya Kwanza government has ongoing projects in every county across the Republic of Kenya. And I can see one, if you want me to pinpoint, I would pinpoint a few. Let's talk of the road infrastructure. A few years ago, our party leader, President Ruto, was labeled mtu wa kitendawili, mtu wa kupanga na kutenga. But if you can see now, a few years down the line, number one, when he took over, he mentioned that he would empower the farmers. And true to his word, he brought down the price of the fertilizer.
Let's go back to the road, Kennedy. You started with the roads.
Yes, and if you look at the ongoing projects, like where I come from, there are ongoing projects of roads in every county where I come from, the western Nyanza side of this republic. And his visit, most recent visit, and the engagement with the Mount Kenya region, he reassured the Mount Kenya community that indeed you gave me this government. We formed this government. And it is true the Western Kenya and Nyanza did not vote overwhelmingly for me. But I need you to help me in this journey that we should not leave Nyanza and Western Kenya out of our next government. And I think that is goodwill enough and testimony that President William Ruto is actually on course with his development agenda.
So let's talk about development, right? So we've talked about Rome, they laid bricks every day.
Yes.
And with that, the Kenya Kwanza government got into power with a manifesto on what it wanted to do. Today, as we speak, almost 4 years later, which is these completed projects that Kenyans would today say that started when the government got in, it was completed, and that Kenyans can as well go back and look at the expenditure and say this is money well spent without anything that casts doubt on the expenditure of the same.
This is Standard Group headquarters, right?
Yes.
Along Mombasa Road. This is within Embakasi South. 100 meters from this facility, we have a fully handed over affordable housing program. I believe you have seen that.
Yes.
I believe you have seen the expansion that was done a few months ago of the road infrastructure right outside your gate of the old Mombasa Road. That was done a few months ago.
It's not finished.
It's ongoing, but right by your gate is done.
No, it's not. Let me tell you something about that particular road, because we live here literally.
Yes.
We're
I also live here.
We're in 2026.
Yeah.
There was a Gazette notice on this road that the road works would take 1 week. I won't forget the date.
Yes.
Because we were made to divert our movement for weeks. We were going the back way, going underground in order to get into our gate. And we were told that by November 11th, you wonder how I know the details. November 11th, 2024, that road would be completed. The works inside here would be completed. You came in here this morning. That road is not complete. The furnishings on the road are nowhere. It's not there. It's not complete. Even if you were blind,
but
you
we
would
can
be able
agree.
to tell. So I'm actually shocked that you used that road as an example.
Yes.
Because we use it every day, and it is not complete, Kennedy.
My sister, that road is motorable. That road, the expansion, the 2 next lanes, all the way from Airtel, proceeding towards the airport, quite a bit of it, more than 75% is complete. And that is very encouraging. I only pray that the contractor moves with speed, because I would say it's overdue.
What kind of speed are we talking about? It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years. There's no construction that comes that does not come with challenges.
You see, you've mentioned about affordable housing in the country, and even the project that you've just mentioned. Last week, the Auditor General in her report said the affordable housing project in the country has lost close to 9 billion shillings in funds that cannot be traced. The reason why I asked today, with the projects, even the one that you've mentioned outside Embakasi, give us proof. Auditor General has said there is 9-point-something billion shillings that got lost, that was stolen, that cannot be traced through affordable housing. Today we ask, the funds that have gone into affordable housing is taxes that have been deducted from Kenyans to fund that project. But even while at it, 9-point-something billion shillings lost. So give me a project in this country that has been completed without traces of graft, of theft in these projects, because affordable housing, we rule it out. Over 9 billion shillings, graft case. Which other project can you tell us today?
I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to speak based on hearsay. We have...
It's an Auditor General's report. It is there. That is not hearsay. It is a report.
That's a report, yes. But we have sister agencies that also deals with the execution of reports. We have the EACC, we have the judiciary, we have the arms of the legislature that deals with oversight. We have the public investments committees, the public accounts committees. What is the report of the oversight committees of the legislatures that are mandated on behalf of the citizens?
That's an excellent question, Kennedy.
What is their report?
You know
and what is the engagement of the members of parliament on the said report? I would love to see the arms of the legislature. What are they doing over this report?
Kennedy, you see, the reason why the Auditor General has given that report the way it is, it's simply because in her audit queries, she sent requests for clearance, for confirmation, for information on where this 9-point-something billion shillings is. And failure by the agencies that are in charge in implementing affordable housing failed to give this report, failed to give their information. The reason why the report was released. So the first agency that deals with the expenditure of affordable housing failed to give information to the Auditor General as expected. By the time you're going to National Assembly, it's because the mother company, the originator of implementation of affordable housing, failed to do their part in terms of coming clear on where over 9 billion shillings went. Again, question.
Our support for the government does not set aside the rule of law. And I want to authoritatively report to you that we have other agencies. I would want to see that someone has been identified by EACC within the said government agencies that they have misused funds, and the government is kind of sabotaging the enforcement of the rule of law. Then that I would say that we as a government, we are lacking goodwill of enforcement of the rule of law. I condemn strongly the bad intention of dipping, long fingers into the public coffers. But that does not take away. I do not want you to be to stop seeing the facts that just behind you, I have a problem that you are refusing by choice or by default or by omission or commission to see that just a few minutes walk from where you are seated, where you work every day, that you have refused to see that people. I used to represent this same area a few months ago, and most of my constituents in the Riara slums just across here are beneficiaries of the affordable housing.
You know, Kennedy, what I refuse.
I don't think anybody's refusing to see it. The bill isn't there. It's very clear that it's there. It's very obvious. And unfortunately, a lot of the problems that we face are issues of process. I don't know if you remember in 2017, when the election was called, and the Supreme Court says, no, we have to go back. Did they dispute the winner? They didn't dispute the winner.
No, the process.
They disputed the process.
Yes.
And it was based on that disputed process that the Supreme Court said, you know what? We're going back to the vote. Now, we can see the buildings, the process just as important. And the role of the Auditor General as the sole auditor, as the sole accountant for government is for national government, it's for county governments, it's for state corporations and parastatals, it's for independent commissions and offices, it's for courts and constitutional bodies. It's an entity, any entity that uses public funds.
That's agreed.
Their job is to report. Their job is to put in checks whether public money is used lawfully, efficiently, and for its intended purpose. It's for identification of misuse, for waste, for fraud and corruption. They report to the National Assembly, to Senate, to county assemblies, and these reports then guide oversight by bodies like the Public Accounts Committee and the Public Investments Committee.
Yes.
And these reports are in compliance with the law.
Agreed.
Her office is to report. Now, these monies that she's been reporting over during her tenure, and even before her, Eddie Okoh in his tenure, and other reports that we have seen, never.
So the light of day?
Never has one report whereby missing, fraudulent, corrupt mismanagement of funds has actually then been investigated by and carried forward for any kind of action by these bodies that you're talking about, which are sister organizations to do their job. Never has been done. But the question remains, remember the institutions that I mentioned, National Assembly, Senate, all of that? One would wonder how easy it would be for people to pick up these reports and then use them to hold themselves against these reports and say, where do I fall in? Why do you think, Kennedy, that these bodies have never picked up a report by the Auditor General and said, okay, guys, this kind of money that we're talking about, ridiculous, cannot be missing every day when we are looking for money for development?
Yes.
Why do you think that they've never picked up these? EACC, Senate, National Assembly, why have they never picked up any of that to do? And I really want to hear, because this ties directly to development. Why have they never picked up these reports and said, okay, guys, if this money is missing, because it's a balance sheet, you can't lie, it's a balance sheet. If 9 billion is missing, it's missing.
That's true.
Why have they not ever been able to say, where did this money go?
Implementation. There is a report. There have been reports, like you mentioned, from the previous office holders of the same office. I believe that from the President Uhuru Kenyatta's time to President Ruto's time. Implementation of these reports requires goodwill, like I mentioned earlier, goodwill of both the citizens, people who are charged and mandated to enforce such reports. The EACC, what are they doing? I would really pray that someone should be identified and hold into account of violation of public finance acts. I would want really pray that we move with speed as a people, as a nation. If those who are given responsibilities, both in the judicial system, because there's also been laxity that we've also had people lamenting. Like you've also said, the judiciary. There are people who have been forded for having violated laws here and there. Somehow we see right and civic bodies coming to their aid, political elite coming to their aid, that our people are being profiled in government because they are mentioned to have violated laws. So as a citizen, a citizen of good mind, and a supporter of this administration, I know there's goodwill from the executive.
To do what?
I pray there's a goodwill to move Kenya forward.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there's goodwill to move Kenya forward from the executive. I just pray that members of all the development partners within the government, within all arms of government, that we have the goodwill to enforce laws and to work according to the rule of law.
You know, the goodwill that we talk about today, it so happened that when you look at the National Assembly as is constituted today, they Kenya Kwanza government, pretty much UDA controls majority of members in the August House, right? That means if the Auditor General today gives a report in that house and that there is need for further investigations from Parliament and for individuals to be found culpable, then one would assume because there is political goodwill, then the house that is being ruled by the government would go deeper and bring sanity into the same, right?
I agree with you, but I also want to remind you that the geographical constituency boundaries and the county boundaries, people elect representatives and mandate them to represent them at different arms of the legislature, county assemblies, the Senate and the National Assembly. Within the legislature, our present 2010 constitution, there is no opposition, there is no executive. We only have the mover of the government business, which is led by the office of the majority leader, and the rest of the members of the legislature are all mandated to oversight their government.
It's interesting,
irrespective of the political party that you used to get elected.
It's interesting that you bring that point up because we know for a fact that it is the very same country, the very same government, the very same individuals who've been elected into power who will be whipped at State House and be asked to go vote for a finance bill that Kenyans rejected simply because the man at the top says, this is my bill and I want it passed. So the same voice, the same person can as well whip the members of parliament and ensure that the Auditor General's report is actually implemented and that action is taken.
There's nothing wrong. That's why we have the offices of the whips, the minority and the majority whips. What is their role? What does the standing order of the of Parliament says on their responsibilities? It is so clear as blue and white. There's nothing that bars political formations from whipping their members towards an agenda of a political party. It is not wrong. However, does that take away their conscience as members of parliament?
Yes.
Their responsibility as members of parliament? Can they say, because we've had members of parliament across the political divide disagreeing. I've seen members of UDA disagreeing with a few things about how things are run. I've seen members of ODM disagreeing with a few things, how going to the contrary view of what their party stands for. My prayer is that the citizens of Kenya, we have been electing people who do not take their responsibility seriously. I only pray that moving forward, because already there's goodwill. But the goodwill from us citizens, it is lacking. I would only pray that moving forward, so far so good, we are moving to the right trajectory. But we need a better, much more better and stronger legislature. People who would not be whipped without questioning, like, is this the right way
to go? So do you agree that currently there are members of parliament, and we're going to put attention on members of parliament because, again, this is directly linked towards development, because in the things that you develop, you must legislate over them, you must create budgets over them, and then you must have a position of oversight over those things. So do you agree that by and large, the members of parliament that we have today have been whipped into almost a bit of a mesmerization over, you've mentioned it, Singapore or wherever it is that we're going? Do you agree that they've been whipped to a place whereby almost as though political lobotomy has been done, so they're not really quite sure what they should or shouldn't be doing? Do you agree that that's where we are right now?
The law is clear, I mentioned. There's nothing wrong by all political parties getting whipped to achieve a political agenda for every political party. There's nothing wrong with that. But I disagree with a situation where members of parliament cannot investigate and question what is brought forward. Why are we being whipped? Wanjiku, Otieno, the common mwananchi, what do they stand to gain? What do they stand to lose?
And do you think that is the current situation,
Whatever.
Kennedy? My question is very simple. Do you think that is the current situation whereby members of parliament are not questioning the issues over which they are being whipped?
I don't think presently, as it is constituted, I have issues for the last with the 12th and 13th Parliament. The stronger parliaments we'd seen before. The last two parliaments, it's a very weak parliament.
So this one is very strong.
And this is 13th. I'm talking about the 12th and the 13th Parliament. We have seen both the parliaments where members either fear of the unknown or I think others are compromised, refuse to take their constitutional responsibilities of oversight, and or either siding with our people. Our person is being anaonewa, mtu yetu anaonewa. I just pray that moving forward, citizens, Kenyans should give us.
Okay,
Kenyans should give us stronger legislature.
So perhaps my coffee hasn't kicked in,
Yes.
or I'm hard of hearing this morning.
Yes.
But I need to hear it again from you.
Yes.
Do we today have members of parliament who have been whipped to the point whereby they are not questioning issues which directly affect the development agenda in this country? Do we or do we not?
Maybe you should have another coffee, but listen to this.
Perhaps I need to, yeah.
Listen to this. The political parties that gave citizens of Kenya a platform to elect their members to the legislature. It is equally the responsibility, individual responsibility of every member of parliament elected, irrespective of the political vote you use to get to parliament. Number one, to look at the standing order and practices of parliament, the rule of law, the constitution of Kenya. What does it say about your responsibility? That should be their priority. And I want to answer you, my sister. As we speak, personally, I have a problem with quite a number of members of parliament.
Okay.
But that does not mean that we lack strong members of parliament. We equally have very good members of parliament.
So the question then is, I'm still on affordable housing. Affordable housing is Kenya Kwanza government project, right?
Yes.
It is.
It was the dream of
Kenya Kwanza, right? And President William Ruto is implementing it, rightfully so, according to his manifesto. 220,000 houses per year. Way short than that, right? We're doing around less than 3,000 houses. But that notwithstanding, let's look at the president's responsibility in ensuring that monies that have been collected from Kenyans, taxes that have been collected from Kenyans, are actually spent in the way that is supposed. Because today, we are speaking about Attorney General casting doubt on how these funds have been spent. Then what is the responsibility of the president who is implementing this project, who came up with policies on how these taxes will be taken to Kenyans? What's the president's responsibility in ensuring that over 9 billion shillings is not lost? Because Attorney General, our Auditor General is telling us something different. What's the president's role? And his role as a party leader with the majority members of parliament in ensuring that these funds are not lost? What's his responsibility?
President Ruto means well for this nation. And I pray that those who are culpable, if at all, somebody messed up the affordable housing money, I pray and I also demand, as a strong member of this formation, that individuals who have dipped their long hands into the money that is meant to grow Kenyans, someone should be arraigned in court, processed, and if they are culpable, they should face the full force of the law. I pray to my party leader, President William Samoei Ruto, as the CEO of the government, please make sure that you push those who are mandated with the responsibilities of enforcement, the EACC, that they do their job, the DCI, they do their job, so that we leave it. And I also pray to the judiciary that once someone is brought before you, if they are culpable, enforce the rule of law.
Okay.
That's my prayer.
How do you think that process takes place, whereby, there is a call for somebody to then be brought before, prosecution and all of this? And I just want to lay some things that Kenya right now is in a state of serious debt, as are many countries across the African continent and even around the world. So that we look at about 68% of Kenya's revenue going towards the payment of debt. Some would argue 68 to 71, all right? Kenya is in a serious state whereby the first charge is debt. The second charge then goes towards recurrent expenditure, which can't be avoided, I guess, because we still have not been able to cut down on expenditure. And then you have very little money left for development. The debt ceiling is through the roof, passed by members of parliament, nobody else. And I always say that if something it's been passed by members of parliament, and something else that has gone on that has not been passed by members of parliament is still passed by members of parliament because they didn't stop it. They still have the opportunity and the responsibility to stop things that they see going haywire. So if they don't stop it, it's just like they've passed it anyway. So as all of these things are happening, and you can see it in broad daylight, I mean, we don't have to go far. Look at what's happening today. Kenyans turn to digital loans and Shylocks to survive a tough economy. There are children who will not go to school. There's a boy who passed really well. Do you know what he's doing every day? He's at a dump site collecting what can be left to go and recycle. He should be in one of the top schools in the country because he scored very well. There are people, again, they were here, people from northeastern Kenya telling us that they have to trek, or however they get there, 200 kilometers to get water, and that water is not even clean. 800,000 as of Friday was the number of students who've not made it into grade 10 admissions. Now that's the reality. So these castles in the sky that we sometimes like to build and talk about woulda, coulda, shouldas, we shouldn't be. That the reality on the ground is what members of parliament should actually be fixing. And it's not this business of what is my party leader saying. Nobody cares. That there's work that needs to be done is not being done.
Yes.
So what is the thing that needs us to do the work? Forget about what the party leader says. It doesn't matter if he's roaring like a lion. Things need to be done, and you've been put in the position to do it. Why is it not being done, Kennedy?
I only wish that I was a member of parliament. And I'm looking forward to the 14th parliament. I want to whip serious Kenyans like me that let's put our best foot forward towards the 14th parliament. Let us get elected. And I want Kenyans, please elect people who would stand by the rule of law. People who do not look at only political parties' membership and leadership decisions. People who would authoritatively have another lens on what political formations want.
Right.
And would actually stand by, number one, the rule of law. Number two, what does the majority of citizens want? And with that spirit, when we have a right formation in parliament, right mindset, then we will have a right government executive. Because the mother of oversight stops with the legislature. The mother of oversight stops with the legislature. That is where laws are made.
So right now it's not right.
That is where amendments of laws are done. If the laws that are weak, amendments should be done at the arms of the legislatures. That requires strong-minded. How I pray that we have, the mindset of the 8th parliament in the present parliament.
So we can just say right now it's not right.
It's not right. I would say, I mentioned severally, my sister, that I have a problem with the present members, quite a majority of members of parliament.
You mentioned earlier that the current leadership should know what majority of Kenyans want. What do majority of Kenyans want today?
Majority of Kenyans, it is widespread. People have been mentioning, if you monitor the traffic on social media, if you monitor the community-based bunges, where people normally converse. If you go to the CPD, the small cell groups, if you listen to what people say, people normally, the economy of the world is, like my sister mentioned, the economy of Africa, Kenya, included, is not very well. And that began from the pandemic that we had as a global community. And it is also on record that the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, when they are taking oath of office in Kasarani, he mentioned that the government they are taking over is the government that has got empty coffers. There's the reconciliation of the balance sheet as they were, with the transition team. They were actually literally having nothing, but they assumed a government that was full of debts. Like you mentioned, most of our citizens, we are the taxpayers. And the citizens, at some point, they feel they're overburdened by the taxes. But remember, somebody said, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. And we must also be, credit-worthy. Our credit-worthiness as a nation with the development partners at the global level is also important. So when President Ruto took over this government, he took a government that had nothing. He built it from scratch. People were stretched. But I believe that we are moving on. Look at the point, what was the rate of the dollar? What are the rates now?
Kennedy, today?
Yes.
Today, as we speak, Kenyans have been crying that they want a country or a government that respects the rule of law and constitutionalism, that the constitution should be implemented to its full, that Kenyans today want a healthcare system that is that SHA is not working. Kenyans today want education to be given.
Who said SHA is not working?
Majority of Kenyans. If you live in Kenya, you hear hue and cry every single day that SHA is not working. These are Kenyans who are speaking today, unless you're not living here. And we also have matters to do with education, where today, as we speak, over 800,000 students are unable to join grade 10 because of the challenges with the education system. Kenyans today have a problem with matters to do with the graft and corruption that continues to be seen in the country. Kenyans are concerned about extrajudicial killings, and with the reports that this has been sanctioned by the political class in the country. These are all issues that Kenyans want to be addressed today, including those that you rightfully put in place. And as we speak today, and the government that is there and promising that it wants to see development, one would ask the question, how do we then end up in Singapore? How do we speak of development if the rule of law, number one, is not being followed? If the basics that need to be approached for Kenyans to continue pushing the country towards development are not considered, how do we end up there?
I've seen my party leader, Dr. William Ruto, severally showcasing the willingness, and at some point, admitting that we have gaps. And I've also seen him severally making very strong appeals to everyone, all the stakeholders in this nation, that let us not leave anybody behind. I want you Kenyans to come and help me implement the Kenya Kwanza dream. And I want to tell you that Kenya of 2026 is slightly a better Kenya than the Kenya of 2021, Kenya of 2022 financial years. Constitutionally, issues of extrajudicial killings. As someone who comes from the West Stratton, Kenya region, we have been champions of good governance. The number of my community members who have been shot and slain by the police while we are protesting post-independent Kenya is higher than any other community. And I want to tell you that as someone who have been on the streets fighting for good governance, I want to report to you, my brother, that we are far much better than President Uhuru Kenyatta's time in matters relating to extrajudicial killings. I strongly condemn, because nobody should lose life because they have a contrary opinion with the government, any arm of the government, anyone. I pray that the developments we've had, the tolerance that we've seen of late, should go higher. I also want those that have been confirmed to have done extrajudicial killings from the time of independence. We have reports of various commissions on the same that have never been implemented before. I pray that these reports should be implemented. Somebody should go to jail for having violated the right to life of a few Kenyans, or for some Kenyans. Mm-hmm. That's my position.
With the issues at hand, do you think Kenya will realize its Singapore dream?
We are going to Singapore. Trust me. I know you are young. You'll see the light of day when God gives you the grace.
Going for a visit, or like what? Yeah. What are we talking about?
You will have the Singapore dream in this republic. I only pray that William Ruto gets re-elected. I pray that God gives him the grace and gives him good people to help him implement his dream. The vision of Singapore, we are going to realize it.
Okay. Yeah. Time doesn't allow us to be able to go into that any further, but we want to thank you for being here with us this morning. Kennedy Obuya is the UDA chairman, Homa Bay, has been here with us this morning, has made a promise to Dennis. But let's keep it there. Thank you for being here this morning.
Singapore.
Good morning.
We're gonna be there.
It's 8 a.m.
It is now 8 a.m. with ICEA Lion. It is time to plan ahead with ICEA Lion. What's your plan?
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Leo Baga. The National Drought Management Authority has intensified efforts to respond to worsening drought conditions following the activation of coordination mechanisms at both national and county levels. In a statement on Sunday, NDMA said its Chief Executive Officer, Hared Hassan, participated in a Lagdera Sub-County Steering Committee meeting held in Modogashe and chaired by Deputy County Commissioner James Mutuku. The meeting reviewed the evolving drought situation, food security indicators, and ongoing response interventions in the sub-county. Now, according to NDMA, several wards in Lagdera are currently experiencing severe drought conditions characterized by poor pasture and browse availability, as well as acute water shortages. Police in Keyo South Sub-County, Elgeyo Marakwet County, have launched a manhunt for a man who is alleged to have illegally exhumed the body of his child in the Chepsigot area. The incident is said to have occurred on January 17, that is Saturday last week, at around 11 a.m. when the suspect, identified as Oliver Kiprop, allegedly dug up the body of his male child who died in 2022. After the incident, the suspect fled and went into hiding. The body was moved to the Iten mortuary for preservation and arrangements for reburial after the shocking incident. Two Iranian nationals who were arrested in Thika for allegedly stupefying a shopkeeper and stealing 15,000 shillings are set for arraignment. The DCI said the suspects identified as 56-year-old Haydari Aslam and 40-year-old Babay Ahmed were apprehended after attempting to execute their scheme at a local mobile shop in Thika town. Now, investigators said the two had posed as customers interested in purchasing a mobile phone. However, their behavior raised the shopkeeper's suspicions as he recalled a similar theft incident at a nearby shop about a month earlier. The two suspects are currently being held at the Thika police station. And detectives from Rabai Sub-County have arrested 3 suspects believed to be part of a notorious highway robbery gang that has been terrorizing truck drivers along the busy Mombasa-Nairobi highway. DCI said Juma Ali, Hamisi Juma and Benedict Chirodo were found in possession of several items including currency from different countries, 2 pairs of military boots, 14 rolls of bang, 32 pieces of mug glass, mobile phone chargers, 2 bales of carrier bags and an HCL computer keyboard. The suspects are being held in custody as police complete investigations ahead of their arraignment in court today. And finally, the United States Embassy in Nairobi will today, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a federal public holiday in the United States, remain closed. The holiday is marked annually on the 3rd Monday of January to honor the life of legacy of Dr. Martin Luther, a key leader of the American civil rights movement. Dr. King is remembered for his role in advocating for non-violent resistance, racial equality, and social justice in the United States. Now, during the closure, routine consular services at the embassy will not be available. This include visa processing, passport services and general public inquiries. The embassy is expected to resume normal operations tomorrow. Emergency services for U.S. citizens will, however, remain available throughout the holiday. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
We look at the utterances of leaders who are aligned to broad-based, who are initially in ODM. We thought they stand for something. Now they've been exposed.
Because we are a third world country, we are poor. And not because we don't have resources, but we have been robbed senseless.
Look at the wasteful expenditure. Look at how large government lives. And we've said this is something that can be controlled. It happens in many other countries.
Internally, we used to stand and tell him, boss, hii kitu ni mbaya. And you'd say, now he doesn't, let me tell you, you saw the other parliamentary group meeting. People went there, sat, listened, looked at him. There was no plenary, left.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
You have land, Dennis. Yeah. Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper. This is it.
If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around.
Yeah,
Why? Tell me what is
first of all, what's the problem?
Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 6 minutes after 8 o'clock and our conversations continue in the Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation on this Monday, the 19th of January. Dennis Aseto and Nduh are here with you this morning. We're going to continue those conversations. But let me tell you something about technology, first of all. Mm-hmm. So we told you about how, if you don't have a plan, you can go and figure out what that plan is with ICEA.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. I can just do that from the comfort of my house. Okay. Tell me more.
You can talk with the WhatsApp chatbot. His name is Leo. I don't know if there's another one, but you have to deal with Leo for
Okay,
now.
let's deal with Leo.
We deal with Leo. So what we're trying to do is avoid this thing of you having to go and sit down long lines waiting to see somebody physically. That you don't have to worry about that anymore. There's also what we call a utilization tool that ICA has developed, so that you can say this is the end. This is the final picture. And in order to get there are certain things then that you must do. Is that you must put away a certain number of shillings and cents every month, every year, whatever the case may be. Whatever it is that you're doing, they put your goal into the thing and create this formula where we say, okay, this is what we've arrived at, and in order for you to reach here, this is then what you must do. Put away this amount, do this, do that, do the other thing, and it'll get where you're going. It's called an optimization tool that ICEA has come up with. So not just do the folks help you out with your plan, they also help you to know how then you're going to be able to do it. So in this digital world, ICA is pulling all the stops to make sure that there are no gaps when it comes to how you're able to do the business. What's your plan? Ask that question. ICEA Line will then help you to figure that out. Sawa sawa? All right. This hour, we're going northeast. And our colleague and other people's colleague is here this morning. Member of Parliament for Wajir South is the Honourable Mohammed Adoh. He joins us this morning. Happy New Year, Mohammed.
Happy New Year.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Fantastic. Good to see you as ever.
Good to see you. Good to see you as ever, indeed. We're looking today at the state of the nation. That's what we're doing across the morning today. And we're looking at how formerly marginalized regions are faring. And it's intentionally called formerly marginalized, rather, because that doesn't seem to be the case. That devolution, more or less, was an equalizer, right? We'll get into that in just a bit. And I can see you already shaking your head, but for now, Angola is the country that Dennis has taken us to this week.
Yes, and it is the 7th largest country in the continent, rich in diamond, gold, and oil, as well as a country whose baobab trees continues to make the face of the country and how it looks. But today, the Angolans are telling us that those who love each other share the fruit. Those who love each other share the fruit. How would you interpret that?
I mean, it's a very good proverb. Tells us about love for one each other, unity of purpose, doing things together will eventually bear fruits for that people, that community, that unit of people who love each other. And which is exactly what we should do as a nation. Love each other, and we will have the fruits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. We talk about being fruitful because we going into a conversation that might be a bit of a sticky one, Mohammed, because over the last couple of weeks there's been talk and there's been almost outright accusation, and there has been uproar over, okay guys, hang on a minute, for the last 13 years what has really happened in what was previously known as marginalized Kenya, but now some of the northeastern counties in Kenya. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said very clearly, come on guys, what's happening in northeastern Kenya? You guys have been receiving money for the longest time. You've received billions in 13 years, and still we have issues with schools. We have issues with development. We've had last year legal minds, northeastern legal minds, who are also calling out governors, calling out members of parliament and saying, come on guys, this cannot be the situation 13 years into devolution. What's your say, Mohammed?
Well, I'm miffed, to be honest with you, because what people are doing is trying to wipe the slate clean. The region that we are talking about, northeast Kenya, has had very little investment from the center for 50 good years. So we have devolution for about 13 years or so. You're not telling me that 13 years is enough to wipe off 50 years of marginalization? Is that what you're trying to tell me? And people are not bearing in mind the history of that region. Very little investment from the center. Neglect by the government. The only representatives of government that we've seen for so long are government soldiers and policemen whose only work was just to torture and massacre people. Thousands have died. Collective punishment was the order of the day. The only investment the government was putting in that region for the first 50 years since independence was just money meant for security. Tell me which school that's been built in those 50 years by the government. Our parents had to come together, and their parents, collect harambes to build us the schools that you see today, or those that were built in that era. To be honest with you, in the first 3 years of learning, myself, I learned under a tree. Until when we were going to class 4, our parents came together and built us a mud walled thatched classroom, and we were sitting on the floor, on the dust.
And that wasn't too long ago.
And I'm talking about 1983, 1984. I started school in 1983. So this is what we are talking about. And now somebody is bragging somewhere that Alliance High School should not admit Somali people because they should build their own schools. For heaven's sake, let me remind them that Alliance was not built by them. It was built by the colonialists. And so were most of the national schools in central Kenya. So, and then again, when we got independence, they've been sustained up until now by taxpayers' money. So you cannot tell me that I don't have a right, or my child doesn't have a right to go to these national schools because they're in a particular part of the country. If your region was getting investment without a stop, without a pause, without a halt for the length of time that the Republic of Kenya has been in existence, then good for you. But please, do not try to rub us the wrong way. Do not try and vomit on us, because we have endured so much hardship that can hardly be offset by 13 years of contribution from the center.
Mohammed, today as the conversations continue, especially around schools, and the conversation that was started by one former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, you read that together with what the locals are saying. And the locals, based off what we see on social media, I stand to be corrected, many say that Gachagua started a conversation that yes, indeed, should be picked up, that leadership from the region has let down its people over the years. And with that then, despite what Rigathi Gachagua says, what's the responsibility of leaders in ensuring that they bridge the gap that has existed over time? Because there have been members of parliament before who have been in parliament. What has been their contributions and demands on the floor of the house in having schools built in their area? Okay. Because many say that the leaders have let down their people by not pushing policies that will change the face of the region.
Look, Dennis, I would be very open with you. And I've always said on this program and in many places, that I am not going to defend the indefensible. That devolution has not had its intended impact in northeastern Kenya is without doubt. I'm not going to argue that point. That there is corruption, that there is pilfering of resources is without doubt. But again, it's disingenuous. It is not honest to say that northeastern Kenya should be by now at par with the rest of Kenya. That is what I have a problem with. Yes, there's been failure of leadership in many instances, but that's something we share with the rest of the country. Corruption is a nationwide phenomenon. It's not just, confined to northeastern Kenya. That said, however, we have gotten a lot more than we used to have, thanks to devolution. That something has been done is without doubt, and anyone can see for themselves. Are we where we were supposed to be when you look at the contribution and the amounts that have been sent to that region? Absolutely not. What do we need? We need selfless leadership that thinks about the people first. that understands very well that those resources do not belong to them or their clan or their whatever entity they come from. But that's also a message that I will give to the rest of Kenyan society. That is a message that will resonate with the rest of Kenya. The only difference is that the rest of Kenya, or most parts of Kenya, and particularly the highlands, have had a huge head start compared to the peripheries. And I'm talking about places like Turkana, I'm talking about Northeastern, I'm talking about Marsabit and Samburu and Taita Tavetas of this world. That is what I am talking about.
I hear you, but if we look at some of these things, Mohammed, that we're talking about things that should be done at the very least. And that if we look at a county like Mandera, for example, and just the water situation in Mandera, and what we know costs are, and the money that has gone, 1 trillion shillings across this region has gone in devolution, that some of the things, Mandera should not be, Mohammed, and the truth, Mandera should not be having a lack of water situation today. Shouldn't be the case.
There's a lack of water situation.
But that's the truth.
Nduh, there's a lack of water situation in Mandera. There's a lack of water situation in Garissa. There's a lack of water situation in Garissa.
And it shouldn't be. And the very same...
And I represent a constituency that's one of the most thirsty...
In Wajir?
In the country. And I remember during the campaigns going to some places where people were complaining about not having water for more than 60 years at that point. 60 years. Imagine people sharing sources of water with livestock. and it pains me. And I shed a few tears, with those villages and towns. And thankfully, and, thanks to God, we've been able to give water to some of these places in the 3 years that I've been in office. That said, however, there are water problems in Turkana, there are water problems in Pokot, there are water problems in many parts of this country.
There are water problems in Nairobi that can all be chalked up to a lack of management.
Exactly.
Improper management.
And that is where it comes to. It's about leadership. It's not lack of resources.
So there's a problem with the leadership.
But again...
And that's what Rigathi Gachagua said.
I must repeat what I said first. You don't expect us to reach the rest of Kenya and wipe away our problems in just 13 years when we have had little or at times no investment from the center for 50. That is a half a century.
Understood. However, there is a time where that money has been made available. Kenya doesn't have a revenue problem. Kenya doesn't have a lack of funding problem. Kenya has an expenditure and leadership problem, even by your own admission. Yes. Right? And that's why what Rigathi Gachagua said maybe was a pain point for a lot of the leaders when he said, most of the time you guys are in Nairobi. I give people, and this is what he said, I give people a ride when I'm going to parts of Northeastern, they get a ride with me and then they get a ride back. So you wonder, this is where you're supposed to be working.
Look,
you take issue with that?
I am not sure because I've not seen him in Northeastern.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that actually happened. I'm not aware. But again, the parliament is in Nairobi, so I have to live in Nairobi.
For at least a few days in the weekend.
I visit my constituency at least twice a month, and that has been the case throughout. In the case of governors, I agree, they should live within their people. And I believe they spend a considerable amount of time there. I am not defending anybody.
I hear you.
But again, when Rigathi Gachagua says that, and then in the same breath goes ahead and tells us that we're building Nairobi, skyscrapers in Nairobi with the resources of the people, that is a very tired narrative which has metamorphosed from many things in the years past. At first, it was Nairobi, Somalis are building Nairobi with the proceeds from the civil war in Somalia. That was what it was in the 90s. and the early years of the millennium. And then we had the Somali buccaneers and pirates taking ships hostage and charging huge ransoms. And then the story changed to, oh, it's piracy money. And then that metamorphosed into another very tired line, which was, oh, they're using Al-Shabaab money to build Nairobi. Now suddenly, it's become the proceeds from corruption in Northeast is building Nairobi. And then the fraud done away in the United States, proceeds from the fraud in Minnesota, is now building. So which is building Nairobi? Is it the proceeds from the Civil War, or is it the proceeds from piracy, or is it the proceeds from corruption in Northeastern? I mean, you have to agree.
Sure, I agree, Mohammed. And this is the thing about some of these things that makes it sometimes so difficult and makes it, you feel it, right? You feel the pinch when you hear something like that. But that's the thing.
It's pure ignorance.
I hear you, but this is the thing about a rumor, that there is an element of truth in a rumor. That there is an element of truth in a stereotype.
What is the truth
hang
in
on,
the fact that
hang
ransoms?
on.
No.
Hang on.
I have covered piracy.
No, I hear you. I understand. You have covered piracy. You are a journalist. You've covered that. You understand this. My question is this. And when some things like this are brought up, there leaves the room for necessary explanation onto the other end. Because the truth of the matter is, the mushrooming of buildings that we are seeing in Nairobi, where is that money coming from? Is it just businessmen who are doing their money?
It's your taxpayers' money being stolen by people.
So you agree with regarding Gachagua?
But why should it be just a Somali issue?
So you agree?
Why is it a Somali issue?
I believe there are other people who are stealing money in this country. I agree with that. He's brought up this issue because of what has come out in terms of the development.
Are you telling me the Kikuyu community are not building tall buildings in Nairobi? Are you telling me that? Who has taken a census of who the buildings belong to? Who? Tell me, where would we find this information scientifically done to tell us that the majority of the buildings in Nairobi are being done by Somalis? Tell me. We are Kenyans from all walks of life.
Right.
I mean, we don't have the luxury of stashing money as used to happen during the Moi and Kenyatta days in Swiss bank accounts. This is money laundering. And I'll tell you that from the rooftops any day.
The money that is going towards building in Nairobi is money laundering.
But it's also some of it.
Some of it, okay.
But some of it, and I would say most of it, is hard-earned money from doing good old enterprise. So you cannot just tell me that it's the Somali community that is building these places. You can't. Even in areas that are, originally inhabited by Somalis or, dominated by Somali community, like South C and South B, you cannot tell me for sure.
So Mohammed, what I would ask the question then, with the conversations that are ongoing, with the accusations that are there, and whether there's a glimpse of truth or not in it, as leaders from the region, this is something that has been said against you. And then one would ask the question, what are the leaders, you included, doing to change the narrative? Because we'll sit here and talk about it every other day. We will sit here and say Rigathi Gachagua has a problem. But what are we doing in terms of even doing doing your own investigations and finding out who is stealing from our people and investing in Nairobi, and ensure that if that money has been stolen from the people of Northeastern, it goes back to do what it's supposed to do?
Again, I'm miffed. Why are you confining this conversation to Northeastern alone? Money gets lost. There's massive corruption in Kenya.
It gets stolen, Mohammed.
Yeah, it gets stolen,
It gets lost in the system. It gets stolen.
Yes.
Same thing. The money is supposed to be building infrastructure for Kenyans and also serving Kenyans, not getting stolen. Listen, this narrative is a very tired one. And look, I am not saying that some money coming from Northeastern might have made it to Nairobi. I am not sure. It's not for me to say. But again, it's also coming from every part of Kenya. Why is it a Somali issue? Because somebody somewhere wants to demonize this community. Because
why do you think he brought it up? Because it would appear as though it would appear as though it came out of the blue that one day he made a statement which gained a lot of traction. Why do you think he brought it up and said, there's something going on here? That people have been talking to him and telling him that the development that should be happening in northeastern counties is not happening.
It is his narcissism coupled with his xenophobia and intolerance to the Somali community. That he has made it very clear in many speeches he has made. And again, seeing the Somali community as enterprising as they are as a threat and trying to rally. This man is at a rally every day. He needs material to whip the emotions of the people that and he's a narrow nationalist. He's a narrow nationalist. He's very narrow in his thinking of Kenya and Kenyans. To him, the people of the mountain and the people who live there, the mountain and the people who live there, is the sum total of Kenya for him. I've not seen him in Northeastern holding those rallies.
So you think
I've
this
not
is a
seen him in
tribal
Eastern
issue?
Kenya,
You think
except
this is
Ukambani.
You think this is a tribal issue?
Absolutely an ethnic issue.
What would he
For
do?
him, for him, it's purely an ethnic issue.
This is interesting that you say this, Mohammed, because after
I can explain.
Okay,
It's a stroke of a genius.
All right, I would like you to explain, just in addition to the answer to this question.
Yes.
That for the first time in a very, very long time, we actually then have seen members of the northeastern community, younger people, coming out and almost agreeing with what he said. They've put their videos up on X. They've put their videos on TikTok. They've put their videos all across social media and said, actually, yes, it's true. The development agenda in this region is very poor. Where are they taking the money? Members of the community. Does that resonate in any way?
I have told you that is there a lack of vision in the region among the leaders? In most parts, yes.
Okay. So that you agree with. Okay.
Is there a lack of vision? Yes. In many parts, yes. Is there pilfering with the resources? Yes. I'm not going to deny. And I've always said this. But lumping up everything, on that community and just, coming up with all these, stereotypes and conspiracies and conspiracy theories are just a figment of the fertile imagination of people like Gachagua. Most of the businesses in Nairobi are honest and legal businesses by hard-working Somali entrepreneurs. And it is honestly, unreasonable and irrational to try and create this kind of mentality about people who are working really hard to succeed. Now, in explaining why, we've seen the politics of hatred elsewhere in the world. You see Trump trying to appeal to white voters in the United States and creating this fear mentality. We've seen the rise of the far right in Europe. People like Marine Le Pen, who incidentally, just like Gachagua, call themselves the truth tellers. They call themselves the truth tellers. People who take on authority and consider themselves to the purveyors of truth. What Gachagua is doing is appeal to his ethnic group and particularly the rural folk.
And some people may think a little bit differently. Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi said the other day, let's be honest, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has brought about a paradigm shift in governance and accountability in NFD.
Paradigm shift? What paradigm shift?
Getting people to think that, hang on a minute, there could be something else here on the foot, as opposed to just the tribalism that you talk about, or the ethnic separations that you talk about. According to Ahmed Nasir here, and what he's saying is that, you know what, it's time folks had this conversation, that can we run away from this whole thing of perhaps the reason why we've not seen adequate development in Northeastern is not just because of marginalization, but actually what it is that people have not been paying attention to the development agenda.
Let me tell you, they're saying we're not building schools. We are building schools. In my constituency, in 3 years, I've built 10 new secondary schools, 5 of them exclusively for girls. I have built schools. The only thing is, we're not building, or we don't have the capacity to build schools as, you know, with the facilities of Alliance or Lenana High School or Mango High School. We can't. That was a process that was painstakingly done over, 60 years, if not more, or more, actually, in the case of some of these schools that were started, long while ago. What we're saying is we're building our own schools, but we're building our schools in our own way because of the limited resources that we have. And I'm talking in the case of members of parliament like me. My constituency is 86 times the size of Kiharu constituency in Muranga.
By geography or by population? By geography, right.
And again, my population is almost close to 500,000 people. So it's not to say that it is a largely an inhabited swathe of land. And I am only one member of parliament covering and representing a constituency that is the size of the country Rwanda. And I am given just a little over 100 million shillings to build infrastructure for schools in settlements that are so far-flung that some of them are so hard to reach because they do not have roads leading to them. Nduh, I want to ask you, when you are blaming me and putting me right next to the Kiharu member of parliament, my very good friend, Nduh, who happened to be, for about 2.5 years, the chairman of the budget committee of parliament, somebody who had the opportunity, the enviable opportunity, to have the entire budget of Kenya right in front of his eyes. I want Mr. Nduh to come forward and tell us that every Kabro block that he put in Kiharu, that every school he built, that every little development he has given to the people of Kiharu is from the Constituency Development Fund. That's my challenge to Nduh. Because I know what the CDF can do.
Yeah.
And I know what the CDF can build. But again, people asking me, go for benchmarking to Kiharu. Is that not unfair? We have done our bit. I would invite anyone to identify any audit firm for the CDF funds in Wajir South. And I will pay for that audit report that comes out.
Is there a mark?
Yes, there are some. There are people there who are hardworking leaders. And it is, unfair to lump all of us together.
Are you concerned about the control of budget report that stated that most counties, especially from northeastern Kenya, spend disproportionately on salaries and administration compared to actual development, leaving less for capital projects?
And that is where our problem is. And when we're discussing a problem, let's not just make our mind so quickly about it. Let's look at it from every side and every angle. Yes, because of the nature and culture of the communities, because of the massive ethnicity that divides people along ethnic lines, at the onset of devolution, county governments were turned into employment and job centers for the people who assumed
That
leadership.
today the people from the region, and the reason why we're talking about the region is because it has been point of conversation for weeks, right? And with everything that has been said, Auditor General speaking, the Controller of Budget speaking, Rigathi Gachagua speaking, then the problems that are there and the people as well picking up that conversation, and even other influential individuals from the region saying it's about time we had a conversation.
Exactly.
And with that in mind, one would say, let us look for solutions. As member of parliament, you are in a position of privilege where you can bring in motions in the August House, ask for audit queries, ask for these reports before you to ensure that the people of the county where you come from, right, get the rightful share in terms of development and proper utilization of funds, because that is the only way that people of the region will say our leaders are working for us. Is that a collective agreement from leaders from the region?
Look, as long as we are electing our leaders on ethnic grounds, on ethnic basis, we cannot have the desired levels of development. And I say that why? Because when someone wins the election, it's not just the person who feels that they have won, it's the entire works and the ethnic group and the clan that feels, hey, it's our turn. And it becomes a winner takes all kinds of mentality. Just looking at right now, there was a World Bank project. That was initiating water projects in Wajir County. And out of a total of 17 projects, rural water centers, majority went to one constituency. My constituency got 2, Tarbaj got 2, and the other constituencies got just 1 each. So I'm talking about the unevenness of the distribution. It's not just that it's not developing, that there's no development. It's also the unevenness in the distribution of whatever little is being distributed.
And what is behind that?
Development.
What is behind the decision that says that Wajir South will get 2 and that Tarbaj will get 2 and that everybody else will get 1? Are you trying to say that this distribution, even that, is influenced?
Yes, by whoever is in office. Yes.
Why?
Favoritism.
So they like you. So what are you saying?
I got only 2.
The others got 1. Many could say, well, Wajir.
I told you there's one that out of 17, I got 2.
Yeah.
And my constituency accounts for almost the 40% of the population of Wajir. So that was not the rightful share. But there's a constituency that got much more than that. More than 10, I'm talking about. So it's not my constituency that I'm referring to as having been favored.
Okay. And then you who sits in positions of oversight.
Yeah.
Do you ask the question and say, okay, hang on a minute here. We've got a large geographical area here, and it's obvious that these are where the pain points are. Because, the end result
that I have the information.
Well, not here, Mohammed. Come on. Because how am I going to answer the question over a project like that? But the question is this, that the end result is the development or lack thereof that the people of Kenya see, that the people of your constituency see. And so they're going to be asking the question, and they say, okay, well, these guys got 10, we've only got 2. Do you ask at that point, at the allocation, at the oversight point? Come on, guys.
I mean, at
Look
the county level,
geographical
oversight belongs to the members of the county assembly.
Yeah, but you're in oversight.
Senator.
Do you ask the question? Come on. Do you ask the question and say, what was the criteria?
I do, and I am.
So what was the criteria that was used to allocate these water points?
There's no criteria. It's favoritism. I'm talking about the winner takes all. I explained it.
How is that an acceptable reason that's given? Is that put down in the record? Somebody says, well, okay, well, you know why these guys got 10? It's because we favor them.
No,
that's not the reason that's given.
Because they voted for me, I'm going to give them majority of...
And this is coming from where? You can say it.
From the leadership.
The president, the executive, whom?
I'm not talking about the national government. I'm talking about the county government.
So this is coming from the governor of Wajir County, that there will be allocation of water resources across Wajir, but that some will get 10 and others will get 2 based on the fact that some folks voted for him to be the governor.
Exactly. Your own words.
And people are okay with this?
It is happening. Obviously not okay with it, but it is happening. So I'm talking about, let's have a more holistic debate. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. There's a lot more to it than, spinning these very tired lines about skyscrapers in Nairobi and corruption proceeds from Northeastern. There's much, much more. So if you want the debate we are having not just to be a witch hunt, but to be one that has, benefit to the people, let's go deeper. Let's
go deeper. And one would ask then, with everything that has been said, whether it is investment in Nairobi, whether it's we're not getting schools in our region, whether it's $1 trillion shillings that has gone into the region, there's nothing to show for it. What people are calling for is accountability.
Exactly.
Accountability on the $1 trillion shillings that has gone into the region, but when you walk in the region, we cannot see $1 trillion shillings. And with the leadership from the region knowing very well...
How you can see $1 trillion shillings when 60% of it has gone to pay?
So here's the question. It's $1 trillion shillings, and people are calling for accountability on how that 1 trillion shillings was spent. It is what the people from the northeastern part of the country are calling for today. It is that conversation then that comes to those in position of authority, you, Member of Parliament, in terms of calling for accountability and explanation on how $1 trillion shillings was spent, so that at the end of the day, when you go back to your constituency and the people ask you, how was $1 trillion shillings spent in this region, you have answers. Is that the direction that you and others from the region are taking?
Of course, we ask for accountability and transparency, and we ask to be shown how this money has gone. But again, you don't need special goggles to see what is happening, because to understand the point is also to look at how people are living their lives and the massive and emotive ethnicity with which people approach elections. It's like a chicken and egg kind of situation. Is it because we are electing people on ethnic grounds, based on it's ours, it's our turn, or are we going further to say we need leadership with vision, and we are going to judge leaders by the track record and what they have done and the problems that they have resolved and how innovative they have been in leading the population, what benefit they have added to society? If that is the scale with which we are measuring leadership, then we will not have what is there.
Yeah.
But if everything revolves around, he's our man, this is...
I hear you speak in terms of then this behoves upon the electorate, the people, to make the right decision on who they put into office.
Exactly.
But even while at that, then people will say, fine, we have the responsibility of electing the right people in the office. But remember, $1 trillion shillings has been spent in this region and we do not know how. How do we reconcile both?
Let me ask you another. Let me ask you.
So that even as responsibility goes back to the people to elect the correct leaders, that the lost funds, the mismanagement of resources in the area does not go unaddressed.
Let me ask you. There's the Office of the Auditor General, which does an audit every year. They give them a clean bill of health most of the time, except for a few frivolous questions that gets up at the Senate. And the Senate gives it another clean bill of health. Where is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission?
Actually, the Auditor General doesn't give a clean bill.
What are the institutions doing? You should not blame a whole community.
No, but we can blame Parliament, Mohammed.
Yes,
Auditor
blame
General,
Parliament.
The Auditor General has just finished another round of reporting. where there are glaring holes in how money has actually been spent and managed. It comes to Parliament, but nobody ever raises questions. The Auditor General's report is brought, it's read, it's discussed here.
No.
Questions don't go... Mohammed, tell me one Tell me one instance, one, please, where the Auditor General has raised queries over certain things. It's gone to Parliament where it's very clear that money has been mismanaged and we can't see it. You use the word you used the word lost. And members of Parliament have actually said, after discussion, in plenary or otherwise, in the committees, and has come out and said, you know what, anyway, this money that the Auditor General is talking about, truly, we can't find it. It's glaring. We recommend that there must be investigation and prosecution by the prosecutorial bodies, EACC, ODPP, DCI.
And then what
Give me one. No. I'm asking for one instance.
I am telling you, the institutions of this nation are to blame as well, because when people know there are no ramifications for their actions, they have a field day, and that's exactly what's happening.
County governments,
and I'm not talking about Northeastern alone. I'm talking about Kenya as a nation.
Mohammed, do you agree that county governments, for example, who you've laid blame at their doorstep this morning as well,
yes,
do you think they're not aware that you know what, this thing will go before Parliament where you sit, and nobody's going to ask the questions that will lead towards anything happening to me, so they do whatever they want? Do you agree?
Because there's a game being played, and they've learned and perfected the game.
Who?
Whoever is pilfering the state resources.
They know that Parliament will actually not ask questions beyond what happened to this money.
Yes.
So the blame is not in the hands of just one person here.
That's what I said. You know, I said the institutions are equally to blame, because we have a fantastic constitution that does not assume a vacuum anywhere and always refers something from one institution to the next. If the Auditor General has raised the alarm and there are red flags all over, why are the institutions not acting?
This is the question that we have been asking, and because you are a representative, maybe you can tell us, why is it that we've never seen, from Eddie Okoh days, Nancy Odongo, we don't see, their office works round the clock, tirelessly, telling us there's mismanagement here, there's misappropriation here. It would appear as though this is stolen, and this lies right at the bed of what we're talking about, that you've complained about. Falling short of talking about your county governor, falling just short of saying it's true that you've said it, that these issues that we're talking about today, truly, money has been stolen. That is why we don't see the development that we should have been seeing.
I'm not hiding it today. I will never hide it.
It would appear
it's
to
true.
me,
there is corruption.
Mohammed, my dear friend, it would appear to me that you would be able to go to Parliament and be incensed by these things and not rest until somebody with prosecutorial power and investigative power to come and say, no, this cannot happen
done their work.
She's done the job. The rest is you, my friend.
What about the Senate? That is supposed to oversee.
All of you are in Parliament. All of you are in Parliament.
I'm saying it's the institutions. If there were ramifications for the actions of those in office, then you would have seen a certain level of fear and remorse and punishment for those who...
Let me ask you a bit of a harder question.
Go ahead.
Do you think that the county governors of Marsabit, Mandera, Wajir should be investigated and prosecuted for corruption?
It's not for me to say.
Oh, come on. You give your opinion.
It's not for me to say. There are institutions who are supposed to answer that question. And they have ways of finding out the evidence. I don't have the means to investigate them. Who am I to say they should be investigated?
With the Auditor General's report that is out and has been handed over to Parliament, one would then ask the question, why isn't Parliament acting on it? Therefore asks another question, is Parliament being used as a cover-up for mismanagement of resources across the country?
Being used by who?
Individuals. You said that the questions will not be asked.
I'm talking about all government institutions that are dealing with the fight against corruption. I'm not just pinpointing out Parliament. Parliament is just one. There are a great deal of others.
So has Parliament as well failed?
Yes.
Has Parliament failed as well? Do you take responsibility on the same?
As a single member of parliament, yes, I take responsibility for the failure in which we have dealt with corruption issues. Yes. Yes. I am not going to run away from responsibility. We as parliament, and I'll tell you again, we as parliament have failed to stand up and be counted in the fight against corruption. Yes.
That today the country find itself where
but so has today. The Auditor General, so has the ODPP, so have the ESCC, so have the executive, and so has the judiciary. It is a mass failure, Dennis, my brother. I am telling you, and you know it yourself. It's mass failure. Take it. You've just been pointing a symptom of a greater problem.
So that means Kenya finds itself today where it is because institutions that have been mandated to work, institutions that have been mandated to ensure that pilferage of resources have failed to do their job.
I will go further than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, the individuals in those institutions are just individuals lining their pockets. And I'm not talking all of them. I'm saying a great deal of them.
Is there a solution? Is there a vision for the people, say for northeastern Kenya, to finally see light at the end of the tunnel? Is there hope for the people of
There is hope.
Kenya? And where does it lie?
It lies with them. They have the solemn task of electing their leaders. And they should do it wide-eyed. They should not do it with emotions. It should not be because this person is from my clan. They should look at leadership in a different perspective. Because at the end of the day, it is about their future. It's about the quality of life that they lead. It's about how fast they ascend the Human Development Index.
But
that is what it is about.
But there is no...
Yeah. Do you have quality healthcare? Do you have quality education for your child? Is your road passable, whether it's raining or not? These are the questions they should be asking themselves.
But
that's how you measure development.
But that there is no hope for them as things stand today, that the institutions
You are
will
putting words into
them.
my mouth. I am not talking about hope today. There is hope in many places because at least they're getting some of, they're served. But they're not being served the way they should be served if they had put people worth their salt in office to begin with.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, it all starts with a ballot. And that is the same advice I'll give to the Kenyan nation as a whole. It's not just the people of Northeastern. What we have are the symptoms of a national crisis called corruption. And Northeastern is not an island on its own.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
part and
of
parcel
Kenya.
of this country.
So, do they vote?
Culture, the culture of Kenya is definitely going to permeate and spread to one part of the country.
Do people vote differently? They don't vote differently, do they? They go to the ballot like everybody else. Do you see that? Because obviously we're coming from a place where the word marginalization, lack of equity and equality has been used over and over again. Perhaps we're stepping into a different,
has
place.
Been used over and over again.
Yeah, and is the case.
But rings true to the people who've lived through it.
Do they vote differently? Does clanism and things like that still come in when we talk about how
does it at the national level?
I'm asking about this.
We're building our coalitions based on tribes.
Give me some rope here, all right?
Yes.
We're talking about a change, and because what we like to have is conversations that will lead towards solutions. That we're saying that this has been the case. This is the rhetoric. This is the nuance around certain conversations, right? And the realities as well. And we're saying that the ballot is where this change is going to come.
Yes.
How is that ballot exercised in this part of the country? Is it different, or is it based on who your father has said you will vote in, and that's who will vote in, or has it started to change, whereby now it's going to look prospectively into the future and say, no, it's not my clan anymore. It's not who my father has said I vote in or who's expected to take the reins. It's who's going to do the things that Mohammed is talking about this morning. Has that shift taken place? Seems
Not
necessary.
yet.
It seems necessary for the very things that you're talking
necessary,
about.
Not yet, and we are a great deal away from that ideal moment I'm talking about. No, we are not yet there because a great deal of civic education is yet to be done.
Yeah.
A great deal of speaking to the people about what needs to be done is not yet done. Maybe in some pockets, with serious leadership, yes, but the vast swathes of Northeastern, no, because people are loyal to their clans. And it's what the clan says.
It's what the clan says that you do, that you do, essentially, right?
For the vast majority. Yes, it's changing with the younger generation, slowly and gradually, but we're not that there.
Is the northeastern region still marginalized today in the advent of devolution in the country?
I have always
because
said...
many have said that with the advent of devolution, more resources have gone to the region, that equalization fund and everything else has removed the northeastern region from being a marginalized area.
I get you.
With that in place, have these resources helped in any way in changing the traditional view of what northeastern people viewed northeastern?
I have said it many times. In the first 50 years since independence, we've had state marginalization. What we have today is self-marginalization. It's self-marginalization. Because the very people you elected, the people whose parents and relatives you know, are the ones who are not giving the people the services they deserve for the dime the national government has sent to the devolved units. That is the problem. And that is creating even a bigger problem than the state marginalization, because the state marginalization was an equalizer. Here, inequity and lack of even-handedness in the distribution of such resources is being waged on a daily basis. How more clearer can I be than that? I have a problem with what's happening. But the thing is, again, it's not just confined to that part of the country. So let's have the debate, and let's have debate about every facet and every little angle so that we come to, and again, the institutions should do their work. We should see people having their properties seized. We should see, accounts of people frozen because the money doesn't belong to them. And again, that would also be replicated nationwide as well, not just that part of the country.
Well, that point ends in a bit of silence because it's very clear that there is a lot of work to be done, and even in terms of realization of where issues are coming from, a lot of folks have a lot of questions to answer, and a lot of things then need to change. The only way to see any kind of change is when people and mindsets do, and that's where it starts from. Mohammed Ado is the Member of Parliament for Wajir South, has been in the Situation Room this morning. Thank you for being here this morning. Looking forward to the next one. We need to continue to have these conversations, no matter how painful they are, they're necessary. Good morning, 9 a.m.
It is now 9 a.m. with ICEA Lion. Insurance and investment made simple for people like you, courtesy of ICEA Lion.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. 2 suspects have been arrested for their involvement in the false publication of fake Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education, that is 2025 results slips. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations said that Albert Nyadianga and David Opio, also known as GOA AT Goat had been luring candidates and parents with promises of tweaking KCSE results sleeps at a fee. Opiwa, a primary school teacher, is said to have commanded an online group branded KCSE 2025 grade upgrading, which has a mass following of 45,200 online users. An operation led by TCI officers in collaboration with the Kenya National Examinations Council led to the arrest of Nyadianga in Kisumu, while Opiwa was cornered in Ongata Rongai. A search of their mobile devices unearthed images of fake KCSE results, slips, and other examination materials that were circulating online. About 1,500 youth who qualified to join the youth training provided by the Machakos County Government, known as Machakos Youth Service, are scheduled to report to college today. County Governor Wavinya Ndeti says the youth will receive various trainings that will enable them to become self-employed and develop their income. According to Ndeti, about 3,000 other youth will be given the same training, saying her government's goal is to enable the youth to become independent in life.
Wale wa MYS 1,500. 3,000 will report in February for driving, digital training, and border licenses. We in Machakos, we are looking at investing in our young people. We also have a lot of things on gender and social welfare. Wekwatio Fund is in the county assembly. Mufumuombe Mungu, waende wamalize.
And this ODM leaders in Trans Nzoia County have called on the party's national leadership to convene a national delegates conference to calm the political storms being witnessed in the party following the death of former party leader Raila Odinga. Speaking after the conclusion of a meeting of members and leaders in Kitale, the party's county chairman, who is also Saboti MP Khaled Amesi, said there is need to end the conflicts, tensions and differences being witnessed in the party.
We have agreed and announced to the nation that we call upon the National Delegates Conference as the only avenue of helping ODM to stand on its feet after the Baba death. We are also requesting the leaders of ODM to remain focused, consult more and stop public wrangling that is spoiling the image of Baba's party. And we are ready for NDC. Some of the people here are ready to be candidates in that election. Trans Nzoia is not going to be left behind again.
And he further said that during this meeting, the party will be able to decide on whether they'll have their own presidential candidate or not, and also whether the political party will collaborate with others.
So we want all the other 46 counties to agree and come up so that our voices joined together can call for the National Delegates Conference that will determine the next frontier of leaders who are going to steer this party. Whether we are going to have a presidential candidate, whether we are going for a coalition, when and how, with who, must be after the NDC.
That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do. Like now, you abandon, of course, the narrative of Wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mama Mboga, and all those, that narrative, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Presidency is fairly interesting in the sense that it will actually take us to to a new consciousness.
Swali zile watu hawaulizi. Na swali muuliza na shangala ni aje kwani huku kunaendaje?
30 billion shillings annually on travel alone in public service.
A Kenyan can even demonstrate every single day of his life that Ruto must go. That is the only message of his demonstration. That is his right.
That bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
He himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament, so...
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said...
The government.
When he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo, ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
At now 7 minutes after 9 o'clock, we continue with our conversations this morning and into the final hour of this Monday. Time does fly when you're having fun, they say, doesn't it? And as we go through some of these conversations, I know you'll get spirited and you'll get, quite agitated, but it's necessary for us to do because these are truths that we want to speak into and make sure that the situations that we see don't linger for longer. Even as we take that all into consideration, let's end this on a note of optimism because at its core, ICA Line is in the business of human growth and the joy of a better life. They want to romance the benefits of planning for the future in an upbeat and memorable way. This isn't about fear. It's about the great life that you can build when you're prepared. They help discerning individuals create wealth and protect themselves through innovative services. So whether it's wealth generation, protecting assets, or retirement security, ICA Line is a brand for you. If you're not planning for the future with assurance and investments, it's high time you did. You need to do that today. So the question is, what is your plan? Get started on that better life at icealion.co.ke. And we'll continue with our conversations this morning. We've been looking at the state of the nation through Monday because murmurings over the week getting into the new year have been, okay, are we in a good place or are we headed in the right direction? And we continue and take this session where we're going towards the where. And we're going to do that this morning with the help of Professor Pielo Lumumba, who's an advocate of the High Courts of Kenya and Tanganyika. And we say a very good morning to you, Prof.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year indeed.
It's good to see you.
Yes, indeed.
A few months ago, you were in my country.
Yes, indeed.
How? Please tell them what experience did that offer?
Yes.
Well, good to see you here, and we're looking into the state of the nation today, and I think some points that we seem to find ourselves groveling around those issues, but for us to then rise above them and say, okay, this is the direction in which we'll be going. These are conversations that we must have. Before we do that, Dennis this week has gone to Angola. And we'll share his problem.
And a country that is the seventh largest in the continent, nearly twice the size of France, that is rich in oil, diamond and gold. That baobab continues to be one of the revered trees in the country. But the Angolans today are also telling us that the chicken that digs for food will not sleep hungry.
Absolutely.
How would you interpret it?
Of course, if you seek, you will find. And there is an equivalent Kiswahili saying, mtaka cha uvunguni, sharti ya iname, na mgaga na upwa, hali wali mkavu. I believe that summarizes that saying. It tells you how similar languages are.
Yeah.
And that is exactly the meaning of that saying.
And how would you say that in Yoruba?
If I spoke Yoruba, I would be able to tell you. Or Gao. I only speak a few words of Yoruba, but I will consult the oracle at some point. I'll get back to you. So we're looking into the state of the nation this morning, Prof, and there seems to be a number of things that are a bit worrying. That we started off the year and there was a few questions around, okay, so what happens? And usually what you put on that barometer is your children going back to school. And we're into the 19th of January, and it seems like it's a pain point for hundreds of thousands of families in terms of what's going to happen, not just for the children who enter into a new class in a new system, but even those who are coming back to the normal system that they were in. And it seems that we've crossed over into the new year with last year's problems. And the state of the nation is one that we must ask questions about. From the executive point of view, the state of the nation seems like we're well on the road towards development and into a new world order. I'd love to get your interpretation of what this all means at the moment. Where would you see Kenya is? Are people being too pessimistic? Or are we not giving, a chance to those who might want to do something with it?
The country, in a single word, is on tenterhooks. The country, in my view, is headed in the wrong direction. And anybody who says something to the contrary is deluding himself or herself. Look at the fundamentals. All the critical areas that people talk about in the life of a nation. Education, you've identified. Many years ago, we said within East Africa that we would harmonize the education system within East Africa.
Yep.
Nobody now understands our education system. The Ugandans don't, the Tanzanians don't, the Rwandese don't, the Burundians don't. We also don't. And if you listen to the individuals who run the Ministry of Education, you get to understand that we are in a state of confusion. And when you drive across the country, particularly in the urban areas, and the emergence of foreign curricula, which are very popular with the middle class, it tells you that people have no faith in the education system. If you talk to any one of our parliamentarians, or most of them, their children are not going through our education system. They have no faith in the education system that they are talking about. The time is now that we must ask ourselves what is wrong. Look at agriculture. We are importing sugar. We are importing rice. We are importing eggs. We are importing things that we can produce. We are importing fish. Then you tell me that we are in the right direction. Look at the level of security across the country. If there is a single growth industry in this country, are private security firms. The middle class in Kenya have resorted to what a friend of mine, Barack Muluka, calls finding private solutions for public problems. If the roads are bad, you come together and have Cabro roads. If you don't have security, you hire security guards. If you can't fix the schools, you go to British or American systems. Security is bad. What we are doing is that we have politicians who are pork barreling. They are moving across the country using our taxpayers to win votes. That is why in the 21st century, you see people moving around in helicopters, distributing bursary funds, which is our money. Every elected official runs some kind of bursary, whether it's the MP or the women's representative of the MCA. We are in a state of confusion. You see programs such as the Hustler. What became of the Hustler Fund? The World Bank project, which is called Nyota. Why should anybody be running around the country distributing it? Who tells our politicians that everybody is a businessman or businesswoman whom if you give 50,000, then they engage into some business? It is classical pork barreling. going into the electorate, using their very money to win their votes. Politicians come with solutions, scatterbrain solutions about how school fees is to be paid. I'm told they are now moving into communities to find out children who have not transitioned. Is that how you run education in the 21st century? When you say that you want to be a first world country, institutions are dead or dying. We have one of the most expensive ways of hiring public officials. When you want to hire an official in central government or in the county, you appoint a panel to hire that person and you pay them allowances. We are in a bad state, and the sooner we admit it, the safer we are, because then we will be looking for solutions to solve these problems. I drive around this country, I drive in neighborhoods in Nairobi, even matters as mundane as fixing things like roundabouts. For the last 15 years, roundabouts in Nairobi have never been fixed. For the last 15 years, then you tell me we are going to be a first world. Traffic lights have not been fixed, then you tell me we are going to be a first world. Garbage is collected using lorries, which are themselves garbage. And you tell me we are going into the first world. The Auditor General and the Controller General tell us that money is being stolen in the billions. And we are now so numb that even when we talk about theft, nobody cares about it. The rhetoric is tribe. A leading politician and leading politicians telling fellow Kenyans that you cannot go to schools in our areas, and yet we are one Kenya. And you tell me we are moving in the right direction. The nation can be rescued. But it will only be rescued if we make a solemn vow as a people. And unfortunately, permit me to say, that with the current crop of politicians, 90% of them, this country will never realize our potential. I've been around for long enough to know. I've seen them moving from one political party to, well, not party, there are no political parties in Kenya. Moving from one political formation to the other, every election cycle. And the electorate has also been confused. The Kenyan electorate now responds to only the following stimuli. Tribe, money, comedians or comedy on the stage, and vulgar language and false promises. When a country is in such a state, a country ought to examine whether she is moving in the right direction or she's not. We are a country that now, to use this metaphor, we are looking for fish by climbing trees. We are looking for oranges by diving into the ocean. We'll never succeed if we continue on this trajectory. Can we? Yes, we can. There are good Kenyans who on a daily basis try to do the right thing. But who cares about them? We are a country that now canonizes thieves and vilifies our saints. We must change. The voices of reason cannot be heard even in their purest tones. And even when they are heard, they are poo-pooed. In our places of worship, the situation is the same.
Not any better.
We respond to money. Sad.
Today, we live in a country where it has been said, it is an actual fact that we collect a lot of resources from Mwananchi than ever seen before based off the tax regime that we have today. That during the last State of the Nation address by the President said the economy is doing better, that Kenya is headed in the right direction. But Prof. Mwananchi, if you ask Mwananchi today how they are, they will tell you, I am poorer today than when government was formed. And you couple that together with the Auditor General's report on pilferage of resources in the country. You couple that up with money stolen from healthcare system, from education. And one asks the question, Prof, who bewitched us? Who bewitched the leadership of the country that they would not look at Mwananchi as person who deserves services, who works very hard, who painfully pays for taxes, but never ever enjoys the results of their hard work?
You know, my brother, I saw an advert inviting qualified individuals to apply for various offices. One of them was a statistician. The starting salary was advertised at 70,000 and the maximum will be 110 or thereabouts. Compare that with the salary of an MCA, an MP, who in addition to the salary is paid a sitting allowance for every sitting, who half of the time is away on benchmarking tours in the farthest place so that they can earn the highest allowance. Then you know that we are a sick nation. When politics becomes an industry in this country, if you want to be rich, join politics or be in the senior civil service. That is why within 1 year, what it would take 1,000 years for somebody to acquire, a Kenyan politician acquires within 1 year. When you are in such a state, then you are in a sad state, and the people have been rendered helpless. The people are now praying and fasting in the hope that that will solve their problems. I'm an employer, and I look at the pay slips of those whom I employ, the taxes that we have to deduct. And if you don't deduct and remit, the Kenya Revenue Authority will assess you at astronomical rates which you have never earned in order to coerce you into paying tax. They do that for some people. The politicians don't care. What they do is run around the country in helicopters, distributing 200 shillings, insulting the population, telling the population we'll pay school fees for you. You humiliate the people. And I'm suggesting to you and to all of us that until the day that we introduce sanity and what I've called before hygiene in our politics, one of the things that we must do in this country is to rationalize the emoluments that people get when they get into public office. I now hold the view that political officers should be part-time. You know, when I hear people saying that we are going into the first world, I laugh because it is impossible. Look at our system of government. We are not a federation, but we run like a federation with 47 counties. Each governor thinks that they are running a government. Each governor complete with a motorcade. The central government is mirrored in the counties, and I can tell you that many of those counties are technically insolvent. And if you look at them, they look to Nairobi to give them funds which they misuse. We must reduce the counties to what we said when we were making the constitution to no more than 14. We must change the manner in which we appoint public officials. We must change governance. Look at universities. Over 60% of Kenyan universities are technically insolvent, which means that there is no research that is going on in those spaces. And then you are preparing young men and women to go into universities where there is no research to earn certificates. Do our Kenyan politicians care? No, they don't. That is why at funerals, at weddings, and today even from church pulpits, they pontificate at us. They think we are fools and dunderheads. They insult us with the president calling a section of his electorate Wapumbavu. The president of the Republic of Kenya said that on national television. Never have I heard the president of any country calling a section of his electorate retards. Wapumbavu is different from wajinga. Mpumbavu ni mtu mwenye akili pungwani. Rais ametuita sisi ni akili pungwani. Amesema hivyo. That is where we are.
And PLO, even as we look at that situation, and for all intents and purposes, things are going in an interesting and negative, retrogressive direction. And if we look at situations around the world in history that have been going in a similar stance, the only thing that changed that position was a complete revolution.
You know, we don't talk about it. Perhaps we fear to talk about it because we think it is too painful.
Too bloody.
Too painful. Yeah. And even to mention it, perhaps treasonable in the minds of others. That is perhaps why people don't talk about it. But look at the fundamentals. Look at, I was in my rural home and I drove across most western Kenya in the last 3 weeks. And you can see the people have no money. You can see little boys running in the evening to the market to buy a single packet of unga. I go where I lived once in the eastern part of Nairobi almost every other week. And I can see that in order to survive, they now have to buy water. There is no water in the pipes. I can see some of them selling no more than 10 bananas. Where I lived, people long migrated from the houses. They have built vibandas or shacks. People have no money in their pockets. That is why when a politician comes and lines them up to humiliate them,
they take.
By giving them 200 shillings, they say, Hewala. And there is a saying in Twi, which saying is that when you run after a coward for too long, you meet his or her courage. There is wisdom in that saying.
Indeed.
The Kenyan politician, and by extension the African politician, has treated the Kenyan peoples and African peoples as dunderheads for too long. Chinua Achebe talked about it in Anthills of the Savannah. And people are getting tired. People are getting tired. They got tired in Bangladesh. They got tired in Sri Lanka. They got tired in Burkina Faso. They are getting tired even here.
Kenyans getting tired to that point where they are saying that we need this change now, that they're ready to say no to the handouts despite how difficult the situation is. Because for a very long time, Kenyans who call out at the leadership of the country have been labeled, including the media, have been labeled to be so negative whenever we call out at the leadership of the country for things not going right.
But how can you, even if you are labeled, if there is a funeral, do you say there is a wedding?
No.
You say there is a funeral, however morbid it is.
It's a funeral.
And one of the things that worries me is that holding all factors in the short to medium term, the elections will never change this country. Those who think that there'll be an election in 2027 and then there will be a new dispensation in Kenya are deluding themselves. Look at both sides of the political divide. It is the same individuals who have been here with us, some from 1988. I've seen them, I know them, you know them. There is nothing new. Right now, if you are a Kenyan or a foreigner, you came into Kenya and watch television or read the newspapers or listen to the radios, you'd think that we have an election next week. True. The net effect is that if I'm an investor now, I'll postpone my investment decisions until the year 2028 at the very earliest, or the year 2029. As I speak to you now, governmental institutions are not paying pending bills. I'm told pending bills are in the neighborhood of 177 billion and increasing, which means that there is no money that is getting into the hands of business people. There is no money that is getting into the hands of professionals who have performed their work and done their work as is expected of them. The only people who now appear to have money are the political class. And I think it is deliberate. Because when you have money, then you can control the voting majority. What do I foresee, for example, in the year 2027? There are going to be ethnic alliances. The voter turnout is going to be no more than 50% or slightly better. There is voter apathy because people are now taking the view it doesn't matter whether I vote.
Yes.
And we have had politicians saying, even if we lose the election,
we'll fill
and we will win it by hook or by crook. This is how arrogant the Kenyan politician has become. So that voting is becoming something that is not useful. People have lost faith in the ballot and are losing faith in the ballot. When you find yourself in such a situation, then it becomes very, very dangerous for the long-term health of a nation. You know, recently I saw a young man saying, and he's a young man who I'm told had scored A in his examination. He says, I want to be a traffic police officer. Because that will guarantee that I become a millionaire within a short time.
Oh, wow.
Look at the level at which our young men and women are betting. We want wealth without work. Because it has been demonstrated, particularly by the political class and senior civil service, that those are the avenues via which you get money, reaping where you have not sown. Look at the manner in which my good friends, the Auditor General and the Controller General, are ignored, and in certain cases, even prosecution is attempted against them as a way of intimidation. Look at the situation when people are summoned by Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. It is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption that is insulted and abused. And when people come out of Integrity House, they are celebrated as heroes.
That you made it out. So, in all of this, we see what the symptoms are. And we have to then ask what the problem is, because that's what doctors often do. And they talk about, when you think about a cancer, PLO, you think some of the words that come to mind are free radicals. They're all over the place. But the first thing that a doctor does when they find a cancer is not treat it, they cut it out. Cut it out, and then you treat the rest of the body to then be able to recover from the damage or the danger that that cancer has. Never do you find a situation whereby the doctor will say, well, let's see how this cancer is going to do if we add a painkiller here or there. They want to cut it out first, but they have to look for what's causing that problem. What's causing the problem right now from what you see?
You know, we have a cancer, but we choose to take Panadol to cure, in the hope that it will cure that cancer. What is our problem? Our problem is that we have made money and wealth our God. A friend of mine, Njoki Kaigai, calls it affluenza. From the word affluent. There is a competition by individuals in public spaces to be richer than the other. So that we have normalized graft, number one. Our second problem is what I'll use the English word mendacity. Lying has become our stock in trade. The more you lie, and the sleek way in which you lie, and lie to the electorate, that makes you the politician. He's a smart politician. She's a smart politician. Number 3, we have lost sense of shame. Hatuna haya. Even when we do all these things, we are unashamed. There is no shame anymore. Number 4, we have institutionalized ethnicity of the negative kind as the way of mobilization. The 5th thing is that the politician has discovered that the best way to hold the populace in check is to impoverish the population. We are one of the most taxed nations in this continent today, without commensurate service. All those factors conjoined have created a toxic environment which makes it very easy for the political class to control the majority of the populace. The middle class is absent in this arena because the middle class is so busy trying to educate their children outside of the Kenyan education system. They are so busy trying to finance their mortgages. They are so busy trying to protect themselves through private security, and they think that they can have private solutions to public problems. The middle class is absent, and what they do is to analyze the Kenyan situation in the cool of their room and at private members' clubs. The political class, on the other hand, know all these, and what they are doing is to create and to ensure that we are in this state of confusion, and they sell us fiction. In Kiswahili, we used to have a book called Hekaya za Abunuwasi. And there are these stories of Abunuwasi. Abunuwasi was famous for his ways. He would give you a cooking pan, and then after 2 days he asks it, and then he gives you 2, and it says it has given birth. And when you lend him the next time, it says it has died, because that which gives birth dies. That is what the politicians have perfected. The net effect is that we now have politicians in this country who think they are larger than life, almost as large as death. They are immune from the law. They operate above or outside of the law. They commit offenses and nobody cares. They can do what they want. They can kill and maim, but nothing happens to them. When you arrest them, they go to their tribe, and their tribesmen are capable of saying, he is a murderer or a thief, but he is our very own. Yeah. When you create such a nation, then the nation suffers. Permit me to say that there are very few Kenyans, people who can genuinely say that what bothers me is Kenya. We have all retreated into our ethnic cocoons. That is why you hear the talk, usiguze mlima, usiguze mtaro. That is why you hear the Luo saying oduadu. That is why you hear the Luo say murembe. That is why you hear the Kisi saying our very own. That is why the people in the coast are also talking of their very own. That is why you hear the Somali brothers are talking about their very own. Everybody has retreated, at least the political class, into these ethnic cocoons. Kenya is a very lonely country.
First, then there is what we call the Constitution of the Republic, the supreme law of the land. And you look at how the law is abused in the country, and one asks the question, where did we go wrong? Because you look at court orders being given, which is law at that point, disrespected. You look at decisions being made even in terms of expenditure. When we take debt, it ought to go to the consolidated fund. That is not disrespected. It is the rule of the land. The law in the country seems as if it is a suggestion to a specific group of individuals in the country with whom Kenyans have donated their power for representation, legislative, and oversight. Professor, can we say that even now, as you're saying, we're going to Singapore? Can we head there? Can we even move a step forward as a country without respecting the rule of law?
You know, I know that the word Singapore is being used as a metaphor, but let me be mischievous a little. We are the only country in the world that wants to be another country. Never. have I had another one country wanting to be another country. I understand the metaphor. Singapore is 737 square kilometers, or thereabout, a population about 6 million. Nairobi is about 696 square kilometers, which means Singapore is slightly bigger, just slightly bigger than Nairobi. We, as a country of 582 square kilometers with a population approaching 61, to be like Nairobi. And even if you allow me now to go into the metaphor without being mischievous, tongue-in-cheek, Singapore had certain things that defined what they wanted. Discipline. Discipline is half the journey. Respect for rule of law. When Lee Kuan Yew and his comrades in arms broke away from Malaysia at that time, 142 individuals or thereabouts were arrested for engaging in corruption and punished. There was no impunity. People were hired on merit, not on the basis of ethnicity. So if you look at the direction that we are going into, then you discover that we are going in a totally opposite direction. I don't know whether you've had the opportunity of reading this book written in the year 2015 by Robert Wood, a Ghanaian, talking about third world to first world, one touch. When you want to get into that direction, it is not the rhetoric that gets you into that direction. It is the action. And where is the action? There is no action. When you have a World Bank, or look at the sale, for example, Safaricom, it is something that one can say many things about. But when I hear that those who are going to offer advisory services for the sale of Safaricom are going to be paid 3 billion Kenya shillings, what are they doing? You don't get into Singapore by doing the opposite things. There is a saying that you may want to, when you want to shake a baobab tree, the only thing that will end up shaking are your buttocks. And I'm suggesting to Kenyans that what we are doing, or what the political class is doing, is not in tandem with what you do when you want to move economically in the right direction. By next year, I am of the view, and I claim no expertise, we'll be spending no less than 60% of our GDP, if not our budget, servicing foreign debt. When you are doing that, how are you going to get into the space? When you are allowing people to import sugar, which they are repackaging, and you are not paying the farmers. When you are allowing people to import rice under the guise of distribution to people who are going through famine, and we know that this is being imported for purposes of enriching a few individuals. We know people are importing edible oil. You are doing all the wrong things, and then you tell me we are moving in the right direction. No, we are not. Can we? Kenya has the potential to improve our economy. We are slightly about 150, 160 GDP or thereabout, depending on how you count it. We could be a $500 billion GDP in the next 10 years if we get certain fundamentals right. Get our tourism right. Get our agriculture right, get our value addition right, get our manufacturing right, reduce corruption and wastage, rationalize our governance, and make sure that we invest in areas that will create productivity, get into areas that will change the lives of the people. But we are doing exactly the opposite. And let me give you 2 examples. The thing that was touted by the government as capable of changing people's lives, I want us to go out and audit the actual impact of the money distributed under the Hustler Fund. Check. Right now, after 2 years, I want you to go and ask yourself the impact of the money that is being distributed under Nyota, and you'll find that the failure rate is anything between 70 and 80%. Why? You are making assumptions which don't exist. that if you are given 50,000, you are going to engage in some business, and that business is going to bloom and blossom. It doesn't work that way. You have trainers whom you are paying 150. I'm told they are being paid in the hundreds of millions. Are you involving universities? Departments of commerce?
even?
Are you all in my rural village? Almost half of the TVETs are closed because they can't pay the teachers.
True.
And that is true across the country. So in a nutshell, you see a country, and let me tell you how painful it is to some of us who love this country, that you know what is right, but you can do very little about it. I know people who would love to serve as parliamentarians, but they cannot, because the electorate has been primed to respond to only the stimuli that I talked about. They don't want to surrender themselves to that reality. So we find ourselves in this space. And even as we talk here, when the politicians listen to individuals such as that, they say, hao ni wachache wasiotosheka. They poo-poo what we are saying. They say, these are theoreticians whose only claim to fame is that they are professional fault finders. No, we are not. We are patriots who love this country, who worry about generations yet to be born, who worry about young men and women. And I talk to young men and women across this continent and across this country. I've met young engineers on border writers 4 years after they graduated. I've met engineers and other professionals. Not that there is anything wrong with being a waiter in a hotel, but having been waiters for 4 years after graduation. When you are in such a situation, then something is fundamentally wrong. And our politicians are proud every weekend when they go to their rural homes and they entertain thousands and they post themselves on media showing how they were feeding the thousands, who then leave with their bellies full for the day, but with their future empty.
There has been the thought that the reason why Kenyans, or I mean, again, we use this to then extrapolate across the African continent. Uganda just went to an election where miraculously the internet has come back on after the announcement of the presidential results and went off again just before that election went into play. And things like those are what we look at. But there is a thought that people are not educated to the point of knowledge. There's education, but to the point of knowledge and understanding as to what should actually be happening. That if I was able to look at a road, for example, and understand, make the connection that between the money that should come for that road and what it can actually do for me and my community, that if I understand that the person who has taken it is actually committing an offense, that if I understand that this is what an individual is supposed to do, that I can understand this is where we are, but this is where we ought to be. That there would be then a stirring in my spirit as an individual for me to do something about it beyond lament, beyond just vote, but understand. And I guess that's where the saying came from, that there is not more dangerous people than those who have knowledge and that they want to do something with it. And so it seems as though those who are in those positions don't want people to actually know.
Absolutely.
That's why we keep you wrapped up with giving you 50,000 shillings. We'll give you 6,000 shillings to 90,000 of you, because you're more dangerous to me in that position if you know actually that what I'm doing is wrong.
It was said that the safety of the rulers, I'm paraphrasing Karl Marx because I'm not a Marxist, that the safety of the rulers demands that the common people be kept in the most profound ignorance. And that is what they feed on. Because once the critical of the masses are kept in that state, then they can manipulate and do whatever it is that they want. But let me come back to Kenya, how insensitive political leaders have become. I'm I consider myself to be a very engaged citizen. There is not many things that happen in parliament that I don't do a memorandum. And I'm an engaged African, and I'll give you examples. In the last 4 months, I have written to different countries I'm not a citizen of those countries. I've written to Rwanda complaining about something. To their credit, I've written to Uganda, I've written to Botswana, I've written to Namibia, I've written to Mozambique. All those countries responded to my letters. All. I've sent memoranda to the Kenyan Parliament, BBI, NADCO, recently about the oil blocks in Turkana. I've written to NTSA, not a response. You see the difference? My own country dismisses. We now have something called, for example, the 10-point agenda, and we are told that that is what is going to change our country. If you look at the 10-point agenda, it is not going to change our country. There are sweeteners that appear to be meant to change our country. But what the political class wants is to create offices, so that you have the office of a president, vice president, prime minister, and all these offices, so that when you are creating a tribal alliance, you are able to say to the tribal kingpins, you are going to be this, you are going to be this, and then they imagine that the people will say, one of our own is a minister, one of our own is a prime minister, one of our own is this. It speaks to the question you posed, that is what we have succeeded in doing in the continent of Africa, to keep people in a state of subjugation by manipulation. What about the middle class? How are they manipulated? They are the ones who are engaged in business. They are the ones who are engaged in supplies. So if you are supplying or doing roads that you gave as an example, and you are doing roads in the hundreds of millions, do you want to disturb the person who gave you the contract?
The apple cart?
And if in giving the road, they also, I know a friend of mine who is a contractor, they give you a road notionally say for 1 billion, and they want 300 in return, will the quality of the road be the same as it ought to have been when you applied the total of the money? No. And I want you to look at the lifestyle of the politician and the lifestyle of senior civil servants in the road sector, in all these sectors, and look at their lifestyles. It is not commensurate with their known and legitimate income. That is why your contractor cannot be punished, because he gave money to these individuals. And unfortunately, you and me pay for it. Unfortunately.
So, Prof, what is the responsibility of Mwananchi? Because at the end of the day, it is Mwananchi who goes out there and casts that vote, which then goes to speak in terms of Mwananchi has to be keen, has to know the person they're putting out there and must put them in check. Does Mwananchi has responsibility from their end in terms of who they elect?
My brother, I'm now asking myself, is voting the way that we should, voting the way it is it the way that we should continue to use to elect the so-called leaders? We can predict what will happen. In the next few months, you'll hear the IEBC saying the billions that they need to run the elections. They'll possibly print the ballot papers in Greece or in Germany. They'll import Kim's kits, which on the election day predictably are going to fail. The question is voting part of the problem? And I've said this before, and I'm saying it. An American called John Henry Clark said, and I'm repeating it, that when African countries regained their independence, they inherited governance system from the former colonizers, which system they continue to apply, and no country, no African country will ever succeed on the basis of those systems. I think he was right. Because voting now doesn't guarantee that the person with the highest votes will win. It's the person who is announced as the winner who will win. Look at the by-election that were held in Kenya recently. Look at the amounts of money that were deployed. Look at the voter turnout, less than 50%. Look at the noise that accompanied it. Are the constituencies the better because they have a new MP? What the MP will do is to receive or to preside over CDF, and half of it will possibly disappear in many of the constituencies through contracts and other avenues. The elector, the voter, in a properly working system can change things. But the systems in Kenya and in Africa, the systems themselves are rigged. They are rigged so that your vote doesn't count for much. Those who wield power will manipulate the vote and will manipulate the systems so that the person who they require at the end is the person that they get at the end of the process.
And so we have to ask this question. Sometimes it's difficult to hear the question, but we can see examples of where it works. That is it time that nations of this continent, Kenya, the one that we're speaking about this morning, then have an agreement or have the leadership of a benevolent or even a more serious dictator. Look at Burkina Faso. The systems that you speak of, in a very short time, have then been able to reveal themselves that they work if they are done properly. That in a very short period of time, things have unfurled in a manner that one would have never imagined could happen and happen so quickly. Before they took him out, and yes, I say took him out, Muammar Gaddafi ran a country that is akin to any country in Europe. And I was able to do that because he said, you know what, this is the way we ought to do it. Let me do it. If it doesn't work, let's go another direction. Many would argue that Paul Kagame is a benevolent dictator and that things happen because they're insisted upon. Is it time?
Let me say this. I've heard that argument being bandied around. I do not support it.
Okay.
In 1992 in Benin, the then president, I think it was Soglo, they had a meeting of all Beninois saying, how do we govern ourselves? And I believe the time has come in Kenya where we must ask ourselves, can we go on this way? And I remember in 2001 when we were doing the constitution, Ali Mazrui wrote a paper and say, if Kenyan politics is ethnic prone, can we have a constitutional order that is ethnic proof? And he debated many issues about how we can deal with the specter of ethnicity in a positive manner. You've heard, for example, amongst the Luo of Kenya as we speak, the two cabinet ministers who are appointed are saying the Luos are now in government because they are appointed cabinet ministers. That is the kind of reasoning that prevails. And the question is, this feel-good effect, what impact does it have on governance? What does it matter to me? And I've given this analogy. When you are taking an aircraft, you look for the best pilot. You don't ask whether he's from your tribe or he's from your village. But when we want our country to be piloted, we then want one from our village. Then you expect the aircraft to fly properly, and the person from your village has no idea what it is. The question is, I have no immediate answer, but I believe that you need order. A leadership that is merit-based. We can borrow from different systems. The Chinese have claimed they have a democracy that has a Chinese character. A friend of mine calls it Afrocracy, that the time has come that we must borrow from even traditional governance systems and ask ourselves, this election that we go through and cost us millions and pain every other circle, are they helping? And in the recent past, we have seen the elections in Tanzania. The country has not even settled. The elections in Uganda. As I speak to you this morning, the Ugandan schools have been ordered not to open. And in Kenya, we can predict that in the year 2027, the current administration will shut out social media in August. They'll shut it out so that we don't communicate. And so it is predictable that after every election cycle, and you can see what I call dog whistling. When you listen to certain politicians in different parts of the country, they're already dog whistling. They are telling people in very subtle terms,
what will happen?
If this is not your home, you had better go to your home. And they are talking about Kenya. And this is going to happen a lot more as we head towards the election. So I agree with you that the time is now to interrogate these systems. And perhaps the time is now that we must re-examine. I have no doubt that we need to have a look at our 2010 Constitution. And when we have a look at our 2010 Constitution, these are some of the things that I think should happen. I think my good friend Ekuru Aukot in his Punguza Mzigo talked about it. Number one, we must look at the architecture of the executive arm of government. Number two, we must, in the nature of things, rethink devolution, reduce the governance units from at the very maximum 14. Number two, look at the manner in which we appoint public officials. It's too expensive and unwieldy. In the legislature, it is time to consider having a system where legislators are part-time, because as it is now, they are part-time. The lawyers who are legislators still see them in court. So they are part-time. They are not full-time, but they are paid as full-time and all these things. Look at our judiciary and see how we can deal with it. And when we do all those things honestly, we will be able to discover that we have a governance system that is top-heavy. And once we do that, because we have chosen that ethnicity is one of the prime movers in this country, let us ask ourselves what the Nigerians call the federal character. Let us ask ourselves how we are going to deal with those things. And let us give pride of place to merit. There is no substitute for merit. There is no substitute for discipline. There is no substitute for humility. There is no substitute for patriotism. There is no substitute for self-shame. There is no substitute for doing the right thing. If we do that, and we stop what we are doing right now, I've talked about pork barreling. Every politician now on a daily basis is pork barreling, using public funds by seeking public glorification in order to hoodwink the voter and to attract the votes. And the result will be the same again after August 2027. As I've said before, the forests will change. But the monkeys and their habits, speaking metaphorically, will be the very same.
And that's clear. It's necessary to do a conscience repaneling and redirection at this point, from where we started to where we are now. Thank you for being part of this discourse with us.
Thank you.
And it's necessary for us to continue. PLO Lumumba is an advocate of the High Courts of Kenya and Tanganyika, has joined us this morning for this conversation. Thank you for starting out Monday with us as we continue into more conversations through the days. Thank you. It's 3 minutes past 10. Good morning.
Thank you.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice.
As schools reopen across the country, the Anti-Counterfeit Authority has issued a back-to-school warning to parents, schools and retailers over the circulation of counterfeit scientific calculators. The counterfeit calculators can give inaccurate results or fail unexpectedly, putting learners at risk. Casio now offer QR code verification to help consumers confirm genuine products. Protect learners. Buy genuine.
On the matter.
Wale wa MYS 1,500. 3,000 will report in February for driving, digital training, and border licenses. We in Machakos, we are looking at investing in our young.
I'm sorry about that. A similar cry has been made by Irene Omazi and Gladys Zawadi, whose husband, Daswet Muyesi, was allegedly killed by police on October 13th last year.
Na kufikia saa hii, yule askari aliyemuua hatujamjua. Hakuna action yoyote yenye imechukuliwa. Ukiuliza watu wa IPOA wanakuambia story nyingi, statements zenye hazieleweki, ilhali tukiangalia kwa kaunti zingine kunao wenye wamepatwa na kisa kama hicho na haki yao ama actions zinafanyika kwa haraka. Hasioni kama kuna utofauti wa watu wa Nairobi na sisi wa huku pwani. ama kwa maeneo mengine.